What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Wingin podcast. We got a special guest with us today, Bland Drew. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I was invited to be on this podcast this week, so I'm excited to talk about some Nintendo with you guys. I don't really get to talk with Nintendo guys like that. I'm usually surrounded by a lot of PlayStation people.
So yeah, we're familiar.
Well, welcome to our humble abode. We are happy to have you, good sir.
I appreciate it.
All right, Jack, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. You know, like we talked about before the show. You know, I had a sad departure, but you know, PlayStation had to go. So now it's only a 2-console household at this point, minus VR.
Is it really sad when you founded a decent home?
Nah, not really. Even if I didn't find a decent home, as long as I got paid, I'm fine. I'm good.
All right, Andre, man, how you doing?
Besides this screaming, I'm fine. But there was a 12-game marathon on my channel. Anybody can watch it if they want.
Right.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, okay. All right, so today, before we jump into the Nintendo Direct portion of the podcast, I'm just going to tell y'all right now, y'all know I usually try to keep this between an hour and a half. We're going to probably go over that. So don't be surprised if we go over that. I'm just throwing that out there. So people, please understand. So that being said, first thing we got to talk about though is did y'all see that new TMNT trailer and they got Shredder? I mean, they got Splinter playable.
Yeah.
Why don't they have a date for that?
Now, see, here's my thing. This was the interesting part. I was watching it and I'm like, this looks real good. Love the fact that they got Splinter. We all felt like Splinter was going to be there. But then at the very fine print bottom right there, it said alpha footage. I'm like, alpha? Like, is this game really that far off?
I thought they would have showed Casey Jones before they showed Splinter, but
that's what I thought. What I thought, because I was sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, because it's one more character that was in that silhouette. So I'm like, why did they swap? I guess they wanted to because Splinter has never been playable in anything. No. So I'm guessing it's like, hey, look, he here.
All right.
So,
but that's what they were talking about too. Was like the trouble with it because we've never seen Splinter really fight. So they kind of had to filter through a lot of content to actually get a move set ready for Splinter.
I mean, to be technical, because throughout different comics and different that would be a lot of stuff to sift through. But Splinter has always been very thorough in those few moments you see him fight.
Right.
So,
I mean, the best version I would say is the 2012 Nickelodeon TMNT.
Right.
That would have been the best version of Splinter as far as them showing his prowess on the battlefield.
The 2012 or the early 2000s one?
2012.
Okay.
They had him fight. They had Splinter. They showed Splinter fight a number of times.
Oh, okay.
In the first 4 seasons, he's fought a number of times. So I was like, okay, yeah, because usually they just have him do the Zen thing. He'll probably, if he does fight, he'll do 1 or 2 moves, completely own somebody, and that'll be it.
Right.
But in this one, they kind of had him. They showed a couple times him and Shredder they was like, nah, bro, one of us got to go. It is what it is. So
I mean, that's technically how their rivalry was supposed to be in the first place. That's how it was in the comics. So
yeah, because the comics, the comics is so awesome. But yeah,
I'm gonna respond to Jack Gates real quick.
Okay.
Casey Jones definitely is one. Venus de Milo may not be the other one. It might be Karai, because there are multiple versions of her.
Oh yeah, it is right. They do have multiple versions of Karai.
But Venus de Milo is likely not to be, because they try to stay away from the live action TV show, The Next Mutation, because that really didn't do anything for the series of the Turtles at all.
Did it not. Did it not.
And it was strange to have the Turtles using all these tools and then have this one mystical turtle that they never knew about.
Right.
Yeah. So,
I don't know. It's interesting though. I mean, I love the gameplay that they showed, the detail they went into, even the little fine detail stuff that they were talking about with the arcade games, throwing the characters into the screen and just kind of looking at the move sets and how they, I guess you could say, more or less balance the game, if you will. So it was just pretty interesting and just kind of enticed me to want to get it even more. And then I could see Casey Jones for sure, but I agree with Blandrew. I thought Casey Jones would have been first, and then Splinter would have been like we got one more for you before the game came out.
That's
But,
what, yeah.
yeah.
To me, that probably would have been conventionally thinking, that's what they would have did in the past. That's what they would have did. It would have been like, hey, you know what? This game drops next week, and Splinter, you know.
Right.
I think that's what they probably would have did. Now, the other thing I'm mad about is they didn't put no release date on it. I'm getting kind of tired of this because that's on my day one buy list. So I need a date, and it better not be one of those situations where it's like, you know what? It's May. It's right before E3. Y'all want to play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles right now? It's live on everything. Like, don't do that. Don't do that.
So do we think are we getting a physical, or do y'all think we getting a physical?
I think it's probably gonna be a physical later.
Yeah, probably later down the line once they've got all their digital sales, and then the people that want to double dip like me would probably pick up a physical. So.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't think Streets of Rage 4 launched physically at first, did it?
Nope. It was a couple months later.
Yeah. That's right. You're right.
Later, because I know Limited Run did the special edition stuff, but like the other versions that was on Xbox and PlayStation and Switch, they all got their physical versions like later down the line. I want to say like 4 or 5 months was the first time they did the whole like, here's the physical version.
Right.
Like, okay. I hate you because now I'm gonna double dip. And, cool.
Yeah, I mean that's the perk with digital. The fact that we can go to an E3 and then we've seen quite a bit of this game, and they show us a little final tidbit. They do a little bit of gameplay, and then they tell you that night, hey, at the end of this weekend, go get it because we just dropped it.
Yeah,
and it's not like you have to coordinate with retailers or anything. It's just, hey, it's on your prospective system right now. Go get it.
Yeah. I mean, so do you think that's gonna be what's gonna happen? Like, because I'm pretty sure if they don't show anything, if it doesn't drop before E3, I'm pretty sure either Nintendo's gonna get a treehouse for it or they're gonna do something with it. So do you think they drop it that week or the week after?
That's a great question. Because I'm trying to think of what would work best. E3, of course, with all the hype that surrounds E3, it's a good way to put some eyes on it, especially with a good price and with it being digital first. But then also you can't really compete with the indie world either, to where you can say, hey, look, it's in this indie world. We just did a shadow drop today, so it's going to be here after this presentation is over. So I think you win either way if you're, what is it, .emu? That's doing the game. So I mean, you win either way because I mean, people are really excited for this game. It's just one of those things of it's not in the limelight right now because a lot of big hitters are up front right now, to where you got your Horizons getting ready to drop pretty soon. Sifu just dropped, and then everybody, of course, waiting for God of War Ragnarok, which I don't think is coming this year either way. But it's a lot of things that could overlook it, but you kind of win out if you go with the indie world versus E3.
Good point. Because everybody was not expecting Ruin King to drop when it dropped.
Right.
Because they just like, hey, you know what? We just love talking about this at Ride Forge. Oh yeah, the game dropped. Wait, what?
Right.
Wait, what?
Now, have we ever had a shadow drop from Nintendo of an indie game, and it was also going to other platforms that same day, or was it always like a time exclusive thing to where they did a shadow drop?
The Ruin King was one of them that the Ruin King that went everywhere.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, they did a ActRaiser Renaissance recently too, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was shadow drop and that went everywhere. So it's not. I think y'all can tell me if I'm wrong, but do you feel like sometimes they let Nintendo do these directs and indie worlds, and then Sony and Microsoft be like, "Hey, here go our version." Y'all ever get that?
Pretty much. I mean, because honestly, what draws more attention? A game that people wouldn't have expected going to a Nintendo, or a game that they expected that's going to be everywhere else anyway?
Right.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Because honestly, for me, looking at this game, yeah, I can play it anywhere, but I have like this little thing to where I attach certain games to certain systems, and this is one of them. Like I'm attaching this to the Switch. It just is a perfect handheld game. At the same time, I can put it on my TV, and it works just fine. Whether I get 4 Joy-Cons or have 4 Pro controllers or whatever, and me and my kids can play it.
Yeah.
No, I think most people do in general. That's why a lot of these retro indie games just dominate on the Switch. Like you'll
Right.
hear a lot of stories about like how Bloodstained, even though how messed up that game was at launch, outsold all the other versions combined because it's just it fits that Nintendo DNA perfectly. So
Right.
yeah.
Plus you can carry. The thing is, you're not lugging around a Series S or an X. You're not lugging around a PS5. You're not lugging around a PS4. You can put the entirety of the Switch with the dock in a book bag.
Right. That's true. That's true, and that's coming from a person that's tried to lug around them big ass consoles, and it didn't work out very well. And I have like a military medical grade bag that I got before I got out the military, and I can get both consoles in there, but it wasn't comfortable.
Yeah, like Switch, no matter what version of Switch you got, you can put the whole dock, the Switch itself, your controllers and everything in a book bag, and you good to go.
Now, even with that, I may be like a weird one, but I like the idea of keeping my main one docked and then having a light for handheld. I don't know. It's just it's kind of like
no, that's cool. That's because I've seen people do that. I know people that do that.
Right.
I know people that do that because I got friends that actually like they have that situation like that because like if they're going on a trip, they'll give the light to their kids.
Right.
Yep. They give the light to their kids, and then they'll have the Switch for themselves. Like their main Switch would be like, yeah, I'm taking this because we're gonna dock this at the house, but while we in this car, while we on this plane, hit and shut up. Here, shut up. Here go your headphones. Shut up. Leave me alone. And no, we ain't there yet. Now keep playing.
Right. So, exactly.
Just look, plug it into the cigarette lighter and keep going.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Now play this Pokemon. Play this Pokemon and eat this little Debbie cake and leave me alone.
Yeah, man.
All right, so Capcom, I know they're sitting a little bit happier this week because Monster Hunter Stories 2 passed 1.3 million in sales.
That's amazing.
And this is the one that people don't really care for all that much, I heard. Even though I think it's dope. I love that game.
I think it was because of that first iteration being 3DS, and at that time people were done with 3DS at that point. So when you look at this, I think what actually helped with the sales for Stories was Rise. And what I mean by that is I've seen people look at Rise, and then when Stories got announced, they was like, oh, that's better fit for me. They didn't like what Rise was presenting. So they liked the idea of Stories, and the fact that they showed them at the same time did wonders. And that was just like from my little Twitter feed, which is not many people, just seeing how people switched to the other one because they were like, Rise. Then Stories came up, they was like, oh, Stories. Let me go with that one. So I think that's what bolstered the sales too, outside of that Switch magic that seems to be happening for every game.
Yeah. The other thing too about that I think is more. I think Stories is just more accessible to like casual fan because Monster Hunter Rise, you have to. It takes dedication.
Oh yes.
Like with Rise you can pick up, put down. With Stories you can pick up, put down. Rise you can't really. You can do that, but you go and I'm speaking from experience. You're gonna get rusty real quick.
Yeah, you're gonna get rusty.
Yeah, I'm learning that the hard way now. Yeah,
I guess I go beat up on some lower power ones,
Yeah, because I'm gonna be hard. I'm gonna go after what was the Bijostin, the messed up bat samurai wing creature, whatever the hell that thing is. About. I'm like, yeah, you ain't nothing. I got this. Whooped me down. So yeah, kids always keep your weapon sharp at all times in Monster Hunter Rise. Just your weapon sharp at all times.
I mean that's a general rule for any Monster Hunter game, but just make sure you keep some whetstones with you.
Yeah, you don't want them problems, especially when another B show up and you try to make them fight each other and they look at you like, nah, we gonna beat you first. Like, this is not how this is supposed to happen. You're running. So,
right.
Well, you the smallest thing here, but you the biggest threat. So we taking you out.
You know what? I was gonna pimp slap this Mizusune, but now I think we're gonna beat you first. So
I mean, they're both great games though. I mean, like I said, I went with Rise over Stories. But I played the demo. And then the demo was interesting, and then, like you said, successful because honestly, you kind of have like a 3-way battle system in a way, to where it's like, okay, this is affected to this and this and this. It's not getting into the Pokemon realm of, oh, okay, well, this is effective against 5 of the types. You only got like 3 types as far as attacks go. What's effective to who, you know? So I mean, it's easy to pick up, and it's something that you can go to, and then also still get the appeal of Monster Hunter, if you will.
I mean,
And
it
it's lengthy,
does.
so it's not a short game. Lengthy,
Right.
you know, that helps.
But it also helps that both those games have cross promotional content that works
Correct.
between both of them.
Mm-hmm. You're right. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Capcom, nice job, man. Now give me Beautiful Joe. So
It's not happening. It's not. It's not. If it was another developer, I would say maybe.
yeah.
I don't think Capcom likes revisiting too much of anything else out of Street
unless it's,
Fighter.
unless
No.
it's Street Fighter or Resident Evil.
They don't want to revisit too much that Platinum worked on. Let's be
True.
correct about
True,
that.
true, true.
that's
true.
Because we should have seen a revisit of God Hand and several other games.
Yeah,
But at this
that's
point,
true. I don't know. Maybe that's a contractual thing. I don't know. Like maybe they only want Platinum to touch it, and we all know Platinum has a gang of projects on their hands.
We also know that Hideki Kami will cuss you out for no reason.
that too.
He seems to be getting better.
Yeah. Hashtag Beautiful Joe for Smash. So so while we're on the subject of Platinum Studios, they did have a very interesting and another mistranslation, I guess you could say, because apparently there was an article last week that was talking about them wanting to shift focus, and people thought that meant that they weren't going to be doing those action type games that we love.
Right.
But they have since talked to Inaba. That was a mistranslation, apparently, and they just want to branch out a little bit in their words, which
Smart.
isn't a bad thing, because I was talking to a friend of mine earlier. This idea, this games as a service, it ain't going away no time soon. To be fair, like, because I think we're going toward that model. Like, well, it's trying to get pushed toward that model anyway.
Right.
But as long as there's some Thanos style balance to it, I think it'll be fine. Because everything doesn't need to be games as a service, and everything doesn't need to be a live thing all the time. I think sports games need to be like sports games. Unless you have an actual engine change, it should just be, look, we update the roster, update the stadium. Will, especially with like changes, like for instance, watching the football team having a name change, that would constitute a roster change and stuff like that. You pay what, $20 for the change?
Yeah, it seems fair, because that's a lot of work, especially if you're talking about doing it by yourself. That's a lot of work.
Plus, for stuff like that, it'll last longer. The value stays higher. They'll make more money off of it, and they'll be spending less money on development, which is something that many people have pointed out to them years ago.
Yeah,
right.
Because if you can tell, like, a lot of people getting pissed off at the whole annual games thing, because Call of Duty sales went down. We know what happened with Assassin's Creed. Once they stopped doing annual, their sales went right back up.
Yeah.
EA just didn't get the memo, because I think they were just too
greedy.
Too greedy and too bullheaded, because they were bragging about all the money they was bringing in off of microtransactions. I'm like, when you bragging about that on stage at a gaming convention, yeah, bro. Bro. I have no sympathy for you when you get when you lose court. Yeah, when you lose court battles, you have to pay up money. I don't feel nothing for you.
Right.
So it's one of those situations, and I think, like, and just given how Platinum does with their action games, there have been so many games that I would love to see what they would do with this particular series. Like, if you just let them play in it, and if they got their own projects that they want to do, and they have something that they want to put out that could probably be allowed, I would probably give them a shot more than I would give anybody else, because I know at least I won't be bored with their stuff. I'm not going to be bored playing their games. Right. I'm never bored playing a Platinum game.
I feel oh, go ahead.
I was about to say, have you heard of a game called Babylon Falls? And if so, what do you think about it?
I haven't played that. I have not played that. I've heard of it, but I have not played that. So I can't talk about it.
I mean, just like initial impressions.
Yeah, I've heard people say they hate it and all that, but I haven't played it. So
I will say this: for a game that Platinum developed, but we know that Square Enix was the overseer of the project. It does look like it's too convoluted to be a good Platinum game.
And, and I will say, just from my experience of Square Enix overlording the game, because I'm a Grandia fan, and they did that with Grandia 3, so much so to the point where the developers were like, look, man, we just worked on the game, on the combat in the game. We didn't work on this story. That was Square. Square has a way of doing things, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
it's either going to be fire or it's going to be like a cold bottle of water dumped on your face while you sleep.
Yeah, because I didn't touch Babylon Falls either, but if Platinum is talking about branching out, I think with this particular situation, they're going to have to do it on their own to kind of showcase that they can do it. Because I mean, you think about it, they've been synonymous with this same style for every game, whether you were talking about the Transformer game, you're talking about the TMNT game, to Bayonetta. So like they're all very similar. So even though they have new spins on them, like a Wonderful 101 or anything like that, like they put different spins on it, cool. But now I have to figure out, do you want to do an RPG? How would you do it? Would you keep some of the assets the same? Like, would you want to venture into, I don't know, a strategy type game?
Yeah,
I think they would have to come out pocket, kind of like foot their own bill, and then say, okay, this is what we can do. Now let's look at contracts from other companies that will want us to do the same thing for them.
Which, like I said, just going by the track record as far as like gameplay is concerned, I don't see that as a problem. Because even the Transformers game and the Ninja Turtles game, that was not their A team doing that, and I still had fun with both of those games.
Yeah, they're fun games. Yeah, they're fun games. Now especially the Korra game, I wanted so much out of that, but it's just, I don't know.
The Ninja Turtles game it's still, because I went back and just started back a game just because I just wanted to see if I would still enjoy it. I still enjoy it.
Right.
I still enjoy it. That Transformers game, I'm so glad it was Gen 1 and I still enjoy it. I'm like, because like sometimes, man, when they be going some of these other generations with Transformers, you be like,
yeah,
man, this boring.
I know people like to use those games to attack Platinum games. I'm not saying you guys, but
right.
To me, those games always seem like they just existed to pay the bills. Like if you look out when they came around, Korra, Ninja Turtles, Transformers, they were all leading up to like a movie or something. So there was never it was never supposed to be like that amazing game, like something under a Square Enix or something under a Nintendo. So I think it mainly just depends on whatever publisher they get.
Yeah, and I can agree with that. I was just like, for instance, with the Transformers game, it had been so long since I actually played a Transformers game that I actually enjoyed. And I was sitting here looking at, in the gameplay, it did get a little bit repetitive, but I was having fun just playing in that Gen 1 world with Optimus looking like he's supposed to look, Bumblebee looking like he's supposed to look, Megatron looking like he's supposed, and they got a lot of the voice actors to come back and do it. So it just put me. I will not lie. I was marking out like an 80s kid. Saturday morning 80s kid, okay? On that.
They were good games. I mean, I got it on Steam, so it was pretty.
But it was clear it wasn't their A team.
No, it wasn't. You could tell it wasn't.
Yeah, it was clear it wasn't. I would not besmirch anybody for being there, man. This game sucked. I'm like, hey, I had fun with it. So
to each his own, right?
Yeah, to each his own. I had fun with it. So it's just one of those things. I like that studio because Andre will attest to this. I have been one of them people that saying, look, can we have Platinum do like a Metroid game where she's just in the Zero Suit?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
That might be interesting. Do you think they'll get too close to Bayonetta?
The stealth,
do you think they'll get a little...
Combat-wise, yes, but I think they'd probably take it the stealth route, make it a stealth action game in the Metroid series.
Yeah. But I had wanted them to do it just because when you look at Bayonetta, all them ridiculous boss fights they have, I'm like, I would love to see Samus rip into something because she fights stuff like that too.
Yeah.
So I would be like, hey, but see, that was just me,
right?
Spitballing thinking, because I do like the idea of her having to fight without, because people think she can't fight without that suit on. Like, you would be highly mistaken,
right?
If you think that you are highly mistaken, she's worse without the suit on. She's you actually have more of a chance with her with the suit on than with the suit off.
I agree on that.
Yeah.
I wanted to answer. I wanted to answer a question from the chat real quick. So Spencer Williams said Platinum has been overrated for a while. Wonderful 101 port begging for the IP was pathetic, and the Kickstarter with the games removing all the interesting elements. Now, for that particular thing, like either or, you can decide if they're overrated. I'm never going to argue with anybody on how they feel about a developer. But as far as the port begging aspect of it, like to me, that's the only way that game was coming. Because you have to drum up interest, and we have to take look at where the game started. It was on Wii U, to where 13 million people actually got the damn thing. So when you look at a game like that, and it's kind of similar in the vein of like a Chrono Trigger or anything like that, to where you hear people saying they want it, but then when you look back at the sales, it's like, but y'all didn't buy it. So now at that point, if I'm coming to the Switch, I'm like, I need to see interest. Like I need to see y'all, talk about this is what you want. And we all knew, for those of us that did play it, and I was there day one, you wasn't gonna like translate everything from the Wii U to the Switch with that game, because that gamepad was so essential. And it's like we mentioned it on this channel damn near every show, but it's one of those key things that you're taking a piece of a game away when you move it from the Wii U to the Switch, because there were certain things you couldn't do on the Switch that you could do on the Wii U. And like I said, as far as people looking at it from the Kickstarter aspect of it, I agree. I'm gonna do Kickstarter. If you say you really want it, then show me with your money. Because otherwise, I'm not dropping this shit unless you put that money up.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta think the projects they gotta stop what they doing to try to do. Nah, dude,
to go back.
Yeah, we gotta make sure that there's going to be an actual that you're going to buy this.
Mm-hmm.
We have to make sure, and the thing about it is, look, Wonderful 101 probably was like not the game I would have done, honestly, just because of its reliance on the gamepad.
Yep.
But Wonderful 101 is an awesome game.
It's an amazing game.
It's an amazing game.
The key thing that's taken away from that game is the drawing aspect of it.
Yep.
That is taken away. Some of the levels where you had to look down on the gamepad when you were inside these levels is gone away. So I mean, would have picked Wonderful 101? No, I would have went with Beautiful Joe, like we always mention. But in the aspect of the fact that I love Wonderful 101, for sure. But I mean, it just is what it is.
Okay, so let me ask you guys this, because this is something else that we've been discussing about Platinum Games for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
They've been pretty strong-headed about not being acquired and wanting to have their own IP, stop working under Square Enix, Nintendo, Sega, EA, whoever. Mm-hmm. Do you think now's the time for them to get bought out?
If they were going to get bought out, they would have got bought out by now, in my opinion.
They're probably not willing to sell, to be honest.
Yeah.
Even if they were, who would buy them?
Well, I've been saying for the longest that I think Nintendo just has like a really good connection with them. Like even during the Wii U, they were like one of the only supporters of that console. Nintendo even let them dive into their own IP and make some stuff for them. So I don't know. They even gave them back the Wonderful 101 so they could do something with that. I don't think Nintendo helped out with the marketing aspect of it, but they did at least let them try to make something out of the Wonderful 101. So
Well, I would say
hold on. There's one thing I want to cover, and that was the thing with the potential mismanagement of money for Platinum. There's also two sides to that. There was also the actual built-up pressure that Microsoft added to that project by having it be split platform between Xbox and PC when it was originally going to be strictly Xbox One.
Right.
When you put it on, you move it to another platform, that's a whole other set of resources. That's more money that has to go into it. So I don't think that's just solely mismanagement of money.
Also, it was meant to be a single player experience, and they was also
and then they want it online.
They wanted it online, and we all know. Look, man, I love Hideki Kami. He's one of my favorite developers just because he don't give a damn. So he will go with anybody. And he's just straight up said, like, dude, this is not a multiplayer experience, and they kept butting heads.
They wanted more for what they originally paid for than what was planned for, which put more stress on the project, put a stress on their relationships. There was definitely ire on both sides that should have been better handled, but I can't say it's just a one-sided affair. Now, your opinion of the Kickstarter, I can't say anything to that. That's an opinion, because that Kickstarter was the only reason that game ended up on multiple other platforms.
Exactly.
And that's another thing, like Blaine said, like Nintendo gave it back to them just so they could do it. Like Nintendo didn't have to do that.
They really did.
Nintendo did not have to do that. And they were like, hey, look. And Kamiya and Inaba have come on multiple times, even during the Wii U era, and like, no, we like working with Nintendo. They're actually great partners to work with. So, if anybody was going to get them, I would probably say Nintendo, but I don't think Nintendo would do it just because they would respect them enough not to say, "Nah, we ain't gonna do that." And I know they're not gonna let another company that's not Japanese buy them. I just don't see them doing that.
Okay. I have to respond.
You gonna go for days. You gonna keep going.
I'm sorry, Spencer, but we all know it's Kamiya that is the one that has the conduct issues, and he only does it to people who do things that he asks them not to do.
Right. Yeah.
Now
that's Kamiya, dude. That's not
Scalebound was originally built as a single player experience. You can't build something as a one way for the game and then have it add other stuff to it that wasn't originally part of the project. That adds stress, that adds issues. So yes, I will say the conduct was bad on both ends. The response was bad, but the idea that you're just going to throw all this other stuff in and still potentially even try to keep the same release date also causes problems.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not, that was bad on both ends.
Yeah, it's not a one. You can't blame one side in that whole thing. You can't. That's just the honest truth. If you're gonna say, "Oh, well, Platinum's like this," but you're gonna act like Microsoft is just angels and we never did anything. Come on, man, we can't do that. That's not being fair. That's just not being fair. And yeah, look, Kamiya. We all know how Kamiya is. Have you seen his Twitter?
Yeah. That's Kamiya. That's him to the point where people have fallen in love and fallen in love with it to where like they want to be blocked by him.
Yeah, that's weird. Now that's just a whole another level.
That was a tier in the Kickstarter.
Yeah, that's just a whole other level of weird. But I mean, look, I see where you're coming from, but at the same time, I don't see that. As a matter of fact, like, I don't know what you do, because like I said, Platinum is one of those strange anomalies. Because I don't want them to get bought by anybody. I just want them to work with people. I don't want them to get bought. I want them to work with people.
Yeah, but they're so anti that now. That's the problem.
Exactly.
Yeah, that too. But I think, and just me, just looking from the outside as an outside guy, because I'm not in no boardroom with nobody.
Right.
From the outside looking in, I'm just like, do they have a reason to be like that? Because we know how some people can be little snout with their comments.
Mm-hmm.
And some people be like, hold on, man, you ain't finna disrespect me like that to my face and think I ain't gonna say nothing.
Yeah. I mean, to me, if I was an indie developer or if I was just kind of like a freelancer, if you will, I guess you could kind of look at all situations as far as like who's been bought and either lost their studios or lost the creativity or lost anything that they wanted to do. And I could foresee a company like Platinum looking at it like, oh, well, can we still be Platinum? Yeah. Will you allow us to still be Platinum? Or when you buy us, you're putting us over here on this project, or you're putting half of the team over here. And that's not what we want to do. They kind of want, like, I feel like if they were to be bought, they still want to be the same, but with more assets coming from whoever it was that bought them.
Yeah.
But I mean, at this point, I think Nier was the one that actually saved them.
I think it was.
At this point, I mean, how many? I don't know. Like, what do you do? Because if Nier is doing what they're doing, you already know you're getting your money from Nintendo with Bayonetta. Then, I mean, really, you're not holding on to much else.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. Look, we've seen what happens with when companies get bought in by other companies. Rareware. You know, and I mean, it's one of those situations. Like, I'm still mad about Microsoft with the whole Rare situation because I'm like, their portfolio, and you have all that's exclusive that you had that you ain't even worked on. I rest my case.
I mean,
I think
they got Toys for Bob, so maybe they can help with that now.
So. There is one argument to be made for what happened with Rare for Microsoft. Many of those games would be decent to good games on their own as standalones from any of the series that they're in. But a lot of those games had a pedigree that kind of got lost. Like recently, the Battletoads game. I think the combat in the Battletoads game is great. It's on point. But everything else surrounding it just doesn't scream Battletoads. It screams like this is a different game with the Battletoads just slapped on it.
Yep.
Now the combat does
not work.
Combat is Battletoads through and through because it's all off the wall, over the top. But when you got into the characters, like how they made Zitz stupid, they made Rash Rash was a showboat, but he was never like a highly selfish character, even when you read the comics. Pimple is the only one that is even close to how he used to be. And then the Dark Queen, they completely ruined her. Because she doesn't have to look like a stick figure in order to be good for the story. She could be who she was and still be a powerful, competent character like she originally was.
Well, in the aspects of Rare, if you were to make something like a Jet Force Gemini, you were to make a Conquer, a Banjo Kazooie or something, the modern day Xbox fan is not showing up for that.
No,
let's just be real. They're not showing up for some some weird talking bird. We're not buying that. So going the route of something like Sea of Thieves, which I guess is one of Xbox's most successful games just ever, even though we may not like it, I don't know what you guys' takes are when it pertains to that game, but it makes a lot of sense in Microsoft's identity, I guess, in the modern time.
I was coming from more of the fact of when they first bought them, because when they first bought them, Microsoft didn't have a superior lineup, and I'm sitting up there like, dude, you already got a ready-made Killer Instinct, you got ready-made Perfect Dark. We're not gonna talk about Zero. Oh, we already got like Jet Force Gemini, because at that point, like it's because they've already started with Halo and Gears, having that space out. You throw Jet Force Gemini in there, now you got something you can say, okay, look, for people that love to say that we only have like the mature games, we have this, for everybody that's under teen and under, they can play this, because that's pretty much what they did at Nintendo. This is you got your Perfect Dark, but this is Jet Force Gemini, and it's basically what was it? Starship Troopers, on acid. That's basically what Jet Force Gemini is. So, I mean, hey, it's one of those situations where I'm like, when they bought them, I'm like, dude, you got so much that you can do, and I felt like it's a New England Patriots thing where we're gonna get this just so you won't have them. Right. We're gonna get this team just so nobody else has them, and that's how I felt about it at the time.
Well, and I think I'll agree with you.
Now that they have Phil, I'm like, I think Phil would have did it, but right now they just like, okay, look, man, this ain't
he was
the same
too late
team
to the party.
So,
but I could agree with you, Spencer, that Perfect Dark was probably a good game. It just wasn't. It didn't feel like Perfect Dark. It just felt like, again, they took some elements and just slapped them into this game that was a different formula from what the other one was.
Right.
So that was the major problem. That's why people ended up not liking it as much.
Hashtag Joanna Dark for Smash.
So so real quick before we move on, Blender, I have a question for you. So now for other platforms, the way I look at it now is Nintendo is kind of like the only ones that can do games for everyone. Like they can go from your smallest tier of, hey, this is Kirby at its finest, to we can do something very extreme. Do you think that now with Microsoft doing all these acquisitions, they could kind of jump in that realm a little bit, or do you think that's solely Nintendo's lane?
I think Microsoft could jump in. If this was the traditional way of purchasing games, I would say absolutely not, just because historically that's never been what Xbox gamers have traditionally bought. But with Game Pass, they're willing to give games a try. It's not really costing them much to give a Lucky's Tale a try, a Battletoads a try, or anything like that. So a Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, Banjo could be decent on an Xbox platform.
Okay,
but I don't think those are household names enough for people to be going out there and buying consoles for them. But
not anymore.
Yeah,
because that's how I looked at it, to where it's like Nintendo could give you something very simple, but at the same time give you something very high acclaim, to where Sony and Microsoft have kind of painted themselves in this corner, to where they have to appeal to the hardcore dude bro gamer. Otherwise, no one's gonna buy it. Because I mean, if you look at a game, let's say for just off the wall, if Animal Crossing was multi-plat, that still sells what it sells on Nintendo, but I don't think anyone's touching it on any other platform.
No. Yeah, and that's the sad part too, because PlayStation, they used to have like that Nintendo and Sega identity. Like they had the Parappers, the Jammer Lambies, Ape Escapes, Crash, Spyro, Omega Boost, Jack and that. They used to be like the what's the word I'm looking for? A compliment to Nintendo's game. Like if you went over to the PlayStation, it just felt like you were playing Nintendo 2.0. But ever since the PlayStation 3, they were trying to chase that dude bro hardcore gamer mentality, and they kind of just abandoned it. So not. Yeah, it latched on pretty hard. So like a lot of games now just don't do well on the platform. So it's kind of sad.
And it ended up costing them so much money.
Yeah. Shout out to Japan Studio, my favorite PlayStation.
I mean, because look, me and a buddy of mine were talking about that yesterday. Like, dude, first of all, Sony never had Microsoft money, so Microsoft can afford to do stuff that Sony just could not afford to do. And when they let those because they had Spyro, Crash, and all them, and they just let them lapse, I'm like, that was stupid.
Yeah,
that was stupid.
Dumb. That was dumb. Because remember, back in the day, you could only get Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts all on PlayStation. Dumb moves all around. So I'm like, bro, that was not smart.
Because I liken that to like the mobile field, to where AT&T had it on lock when the iPhone came out. Because you wanted to go to AT&T to get an iPhone. And then the Verizon tried to come with Android and all the other stuff. And then when iPhone was available everywhere, now I don't have to go to AT&T no more.
Nope.
I didn't like you in the first place, so now I go where I want to, and they lost money. Now they're struggling. But when you look at what we all look at as like PS1 is great, PS2 is great, a lot of games that you look at, if you look at where they are now, they're not exclusive anymore.
No, they're not.
Like Tekken started off straight up PlayStation exclusive.
Like the only competition they had was Virtua Fighter in that space.
Yeah,
when it was Tekken, it was Tekken and Virtua Fighter going at.
Well, yeah, they also had DOA, but that wasn't as popular. That was like by far third string.
I mean, dude, you would go into an arcade. If you saw Tekken Tag Tournament or Tekken 3, if you wasn't first in there, you wasn't getting on there for about an hour.
Yeah,
you weren't, because there was a line for those. There was a line for Tekken Tag and Tekken 3.
Yeah,
and there was a line for Killer Instinct too.
Because Mortal Kombat was going through a rough patch at that point, so it was just like,
that was definitely on a rough patch.
It was a rough patch at that point.
Yeah. So, and while I'm on the subject of mobile,
well, sorry, I don't mean to disrupt you real quick, Wingin.
Yeah.
But Soul Cresta, it's the newest platinum game. It's a shmup. They're trying to get into different genres. You guys picking that up this week or no?
I might. Soul Cresta, I might.
I'll look into it.
Soul Cresta, I have to look into it.
I've been completely just to let y'all know, I've been back on Darius Twin, that Darius HD that they put out. I've been back on that. Man, I suck. So yeah, but I'm having fun, so it don't matter to me.
Yeah.
I'm having fun, so it really don't matter. But man, I suck. So I might check that out. I forgot how much I used to love those games.
Yeah,
because I haven't played them. Like Darius Twin, the last time I played that was Super NES. So it had been a while, and I'm like, hey, they got this. Let me go. I remember this game. It's in HD. Man, I suck. Man, I am horrible at this game. I'm having fun destroying fish-shaped villains though. So yeah, I'm cool with it. But Soul Cresta, I'm thinking about giving that a shot. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't even know this was coming. I had no idea about this.
I hadn't heard about
that Platinum 4 thing that they were doing.
Okay.
Last year, they just didn't put a date to it, and now they put the date to it and stuff.
I think I completely missed that announcement.
Me too. Yeah. So when I looked at it, I was like, oh, it's a shmup. I was like, okay, cool.
You want to know why you missed that announcement? Because all you care about is paying nothing. No.
That's true. And Astral Chain. I'll be honest with you.
Honest. But okay, so I guess Michael Packner was right.
Huh? Excuse me?
About what?
Fire Emblem Heroes, man. Fire Emblem Heroes, man. They made close to $1 billion in 5 years. Mobile is the way to go. Let me stop. I hate Michael Packner.
I was like, when did Michael Packner say that?
This is the one time he was right.
The years later. But yeah, so Fire Emblem Heroes, the mobile game, is sitting at currently 959 million.
Wow.
It's supposed to hit $1 billion. The way it's going to hit $1 billion by the end of the year in sales.
And people are worried about Nintendo going under?
How the hell?
But that's the crazy part, because as far as Nintendo on mobile goes, they don't even advertise it no more.
No, they don't.
Mario Kart Tour. But for that, I didn't know, because even like Dragalia Lost, I saw that still up there on my Android store, and I'm like, people still playing this? And people are still playing that game, and I'm like, wow. So it's like they put it out there, they didn't do any more games, and they still flourish. But that's the thing, Nintendo wanted to do it one way, but the way that people don't like mobile is what they prefer. And Nintendo tried to say, hey, here's one flat rate price, and you can have it with Super Mario Run, and people got pissed off. the investors got pissed off. So it's like, I want to continuously spend money with you. I'm like, okay, I guess.
So here's my question, and anyone can answer this offhand. If Super Mario Run would have been successful and not gotten the backlash it did, do you think Fire Emblem Heroes would have come out the way it did?
No.
Because I could foresee them selling off different chapters, like how they release a new chapter, like every year, like they release a new storyline.
Right.
I could foresee them going ahead and then releasing the new chapters. Like, okay, you'll pay $2 for this chapter, and you get all $2 for this story, and you'll get all the chapters as they come out.
Well, here's the thing. I think Fire Emblem still would have sold, because there's a lot of Fire Emblem heads now.
Well, I'm not saying
they would have
the
sold.
game
He's just saying
sold.
the way that it was presented,
the way it was, the way it would have worked.
Right.
You would have had a solid pay system for it, rather than it be a gotcha game and then they're charging you a bunch for different characters, which ultimately are just skins.
Yeah, essentially. Oh, Blandrew, I don't know if you ever watched the podcast, but we have to stop and say hey to somebody right quick. So please excuse me.
Hey, Vicky. Say hello to Debo.
Hey, Debo.
Hey, Vicky, how you doing? All right, now back to your regular schedule. Shenanigans. What's up, Shadow?
My time will be limited, but you know.
Okay, cool. Because
got the jersey on and everything.
Oh, I know, right?
You're coming in at the right time. Number one, Marvel is wrong for putting that Multiverse of Madness trailer on before the Super Bowl. And two, the Lord of the Rings gaming rights are up for sale.
Man, look. All I know is I want to see Moon Knight now, and I definitely want to watch. So now I got to watch the second Spider-Man the last Spider-Man. I already saw the end of Venom, which kind of leads into the Spider-Man. So I got to see that, then see. Now I got to see the whole the new Doctor Strange. So it's gonna hurt all my face, but it's too much. It's too much going on. And then Lord of the Rings, I don't even know what's going on with that. But
no, the gaming rights are up for sale.
Really?
Yeah, not the movie, not the movie, just the gaming rights.
EA was the last holder, right?
No, WB was.
I thought it was. Oh yeah, that's right, because they did the.
Because
Mordor,
of Shadow Mordor.
Shadow Mordor. Right. So my question is,
Nemesis system.
Yeah, how everybody we all talking about acquisitions and stuff. Wouldn't somebody jump on this?
They should.
Because right now, I know they're doing what's the name of the Rings of Power over at Amazon, and Amazon does have a gaming division. They're trying to get it off the ground. Do you think Amazon buys those rights up and just goes for the full trifecta?
I don't want them to, but they might. I would prefer someone to take off where WB left off, especially with that whole ranking system, because it's like Assassin's Creed came and picked that up too. Yeah, it's like just having that system perfected a little bit and somebody else do something with it. Now, I don't know who you get to do that. But honestly, I maybe it's just because I don't know what Amazon's going to do. I wouldn't prefer Amazon to do it.
Well, that's one of the reasons why Microsoft is doing what they're doing, because Amazon has the money to go with them. So
because there's too many buyers in the market right now. You got Amazon's a buyer, Netflix,
and Google, Netflix and Google.
Yeah,
with the money to do the damage that they want to do. Like, look, man. I don't even know exactly like what the whole what the final number is gonna be, but just thinking about it, I'm like, I think Amazon can pull this off and wouldn't nobody be able to do nothing about it, because not really, because outside of Microsoft and right now the FCC is looking at Microsoft trying to make sure they don't have a monopoly.
Right.
So they can't announce that they're gonna buy nothing else. Not till this whole Activision sale goes all the way through. Which to me, to be completely fair, I think this is just like we just doing this for public appearance. We're not really the sale's gonna go through, but in the public side, they got to put on those airs, right?
Right.
You know, so I didn't know the rights were up for sale. I had no idea, but when I saw that, I'm like, and then Amazon, because Amazon's supposed to release their first trailer tonight, and I'm sitting there like, wait a minute, Amazon actually has a gaming section that they're trying to get off the ground, and they actually got the money
to do it,
to do this, to actually buy this, and won't nobody say nothing.
Well, at one point in time, before all these big acquisitions happened, they were talking about WB trying to sell off some of his assets, and that's what people were talking about, NetherRealm and everything else getting bought out. But I mean, it got so quiet, no one ever said anything else about the actual studio itself. So I would imagine if I'm selling off as a studio, then they're probably not going to hold up too many licenses. Especially, when was the last time we had a Lord of the Ring movie or game outside of this? Game that's getting ready to come up with a Smeagol. Gollum. There you go. Gollum. There you go. Whatever his name is. But I mean, that's the only other game I've heard of thus far, and it's been a while since there has been a Shadow of Mordor game. Yeah. So I don't know what they would be doing with the license, so I wouldn't hold on to it if I don't have any plans for it, especially if I don't have any movies to go off of.
Yeah, because I think that do they still have the movie? They may still have the movie rights. I don't know. This stuff's been changing because the estate's been tripping. But I thought that was interesting because I know that is a property that they fan base is like a Star Trek or Star Wars fan base, which means if you make a game, they coming.
Yeah,
and if you only get 10% of that fan base to buy it, you still making bank.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, but I could see Amazon doing it because they got Lost Ark and New World out, and those are two games that they're decent for a game division that is very still untested. Those are decent games.
Where did they put them?
They I think they're both on Steam right now.
Okay.
So Lost Ark is free to play, as far as I know, and the New World you got to pay for. But
Hey, Jack, thank you. Because so according to Jack says WB still has the movie rights and Amazon has show rights. So okay. So that makes it. I just thought that was interesting to talk about, just because I know that fan base is huge, and there's that. Okay, so we're at the point of the podcast that everybody's been waiting for, Nintendo Direct.
Oh man, I forgot all about that part.
Oh, that thing, yeah.
Yeah, all right.
I watched 55 damn
did 2 podcasts on that, but we'll do it again.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, so all right, so we got the first thing that they showed up, and I'm gonna start off with Blandrew. Blandrew, your thoughts on Fire Emblem Warriors 3, Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes.
Historically, I don't really care for Musou games. The only one that I've ever liked was Dragon Quest Heroes, but I keep buying them for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah, I keep buying them and then dropping them, but that'll probably happen again with this game as well. And I hear it's a continuation of Three Houses, so I think I kind of have to pick it up just to see where it goes. So
right,
yeah,
decent announcement.
Yeah, I agree. I actually got the first Fire Emblem Warriors game. I had fun with it because it was different. They made it different enough, but they kept it interesting enough for me to keep playing it, and I actually was having fun. So, I'm actually interested in looking forward to this one. I'm actually interested in this one a little bit, and if it does go off Three Houses, hey, more power to them. When am I gonna get a Fire Emblem Warriors anime?
Did this game get a release date? I know they said everything was
June 24th.
Oh, June
24th.
Okay.
Yeah, June 24th.
Yeah, everything was 2022. They showed for the most part.
Yeah. So, all right. So, Shadow, quick thoughts on that?
So I'm in the same boat with you. I'm only the only one that I've played through was Hyrule Warriors, and I really liked kind of how the way they made the story mode, because the whole goal is they're going to give you reasons to beat up all these people, whatever, and move through. Right. They came up with really good reasons too. So as long as they do that in this latest Fire Emblem Warriors, that'll work for me. That's fine. I've only played a little bit of the first Warriors game, so I need to get in on that one and then try this one again. But as long as they do the same things they did in Hyrule Warriors, I'll be sold. That works for me.
And plus, I like the way they do the stuff with the spin-off games like this, because they actually they tell good stories in the spin-off. Now, look, the Musou engine is the Musou engine.
Right.
Yeah. nothing you can do about that. And it's CPU bound and it's really slow, kind of. Yeah,
but
it is what
they
it is.
do. They do a good job when it's time to make you see those special moves. They do a good job of making you feel appropriately a Super Saiyan.
So, quick technical talk, real quick, right? So the first thing people wanted to say was Wii U had a weak CPU because of this game and Hyrule Warriors and Orochi Warriors Hyper and all that, right? Mm-hmm. Then you saw Hyrule Warriors and how it worked. Then you saw Fire Emblem Warriors and how it worked on Switch. Switch has its own SIMD engine because it uses Neon versus MMX or SSE or anything like that. So that could have been done. It's how the game was programmed, and you still have those same issues where you only get slowed down if there's busy, whatever, blah blah blah, because it's got to be written to memory or whatever, right?
Right.
And they didn't build that engine that way. It's still built old school, integer based. You have a new character on screen. Let's pass these variables back and then see if they can draw on screen and go from there. Like it's still a 1997 engine, and they haven't updated it. So it's. I hate to say this all the time, but the majority of the time, what you end up with, it's never the hardware that's the issue. It's more the people. And the first thing that studios want to do, not necessarily publishers, but first thing the studio wants to do is blame the hardware. But it's always the talent, more so than anything else. And these games do nothing but explain that, because now you have the thing that you said was a quote unquote handicap on Wii U, Wii, and GameCube before it is not there anymore, and you still have the same issue. So it's you.
Well, if you play any of the Dynasty Warrior games, they play the same across everything.
Across everything.
I was going to say they have the same problems on PlayStation and Xbox.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
it's the engine itself, and it's just like with Bethesda.
Yeah. At this point, though, I think the thing is the way they do those games. Like, if you start playing like what the One Piece Warriors game, like, dude,
those things run awful.
Yeah,
Jesus, those games run bad.
But it's the same thing. I think what happens is you have people like once you start playing, if you like for instance, the anime versions of those games, people are so in love with the characters and they do so much right by the characters, you overlook that doggone engine.
Yep.
Yeah. You're still able to do all the cool stuff from the anime, from the series that you're playing.
Now, that being said, being a continuation, basically an unofficial sequel of Three Houses, I think if they write the story well, this will be a real good kind of semi-sequel to those three factions, and I do want to see how that goes. So
and tie into a possible third game.
Yep. Yeah, I definitely want to see that. So that'll be interesting.
I like the game. The idea of the game. I have the first one, and then I hate that I didn't get a chance to play Age of Calamity. But it's just one of those things to where you look at this game and you kind of see how they're doing these Muso games. It's a reason why they haven't done Dynasty Warriors in 4 or 5 years.
They don't have to. They don't have to pay for it now.
Right. Yeah. They don't have to do it anymore. But to your point, Shadow, it's crazy how that in some kind of strange way, while we're getting good games, it allows them to push back getting a new system out there, a new engine out there. It's like, hey, they love the IP so much that we could still continue to get away with this shitty engine. But at some point, I felt like it would have to change.
Like they know what they fans like.
But I mean, at some point,
I agree.
Like it, but at some point, you have to. It's going to be more than just how many people can I get on screen at one time. To hey, can we start making them do different things? Can we get this to run smoother? Can we make these attacks work better? Can stop getting Luffy to clip through the damn mountain, getting stuck? It's just there's so many different things that this engine could possibly do. And all they gotta do is just update it. And do it in the background while these IP ones are getting you money. Yeah, be working on another engine. Yeah,
or just call Monolith, because they help with Skyward Sword going into Breath of the Wild, and the end of Skyward Sword is full of enemies, and it's like you could do that
all on screen
on Wii, not Wii U, Wii.
Yeah,
and just to be fair, as soon as they drop Xenoblade Warriors and Super Mario Warriors, I'm still in for that.
What the hell would you even do with that though? Like that's
something crazy.
Something Metroid Warriors would be nice, actually.
Metroid Warriors with all the bounty hunters. Yes. Sign me up.
Mini DDTs. I'm all about that.
I'm all about the One Wing Angels and and Stone Cold Stunners. I'm all about that.
I'm surprised they haven't dived into Xenoblade spinoffs yet. With as much as Nintendo seems to love Monolith Soft and Xenoblade, I'm surprised they haven't done anything with it yet. I'm sure it's coming though.
Yeah, I think that's in the pipeline. I really think that's in the pipeline at some point. They just like, okay, let's get the mainline stuff out right now while it's still hot, and then we'll dive into that and let y'all take a little break and work on stuff for a little bit. Right. That's what I think how that's going. All right, so and now this one on my list here is the one that I think most people did not expect or did not see coming, because God knows I didn't. Super Mario Strikers Battle League.
Yes, sir. Vicky, that is your ass. I'm letting you know right now. Let you know right now.
Okay, because we haven't got one since what was the Wii last time?
The Wii was the last one.
Yeah. So
the GameCube is the one that everybody remembers, though.
Yeah, GameCube is the one that everybody remembers. So I'm sitting here and I'm looking, and when it starts, I'm like, no, they're not doing this. They're not doing. Then you see Donkey Kong just bust through, and I'm like, yep, this is what it is. And of course, they ignore all the rules of soccer. Thank you, Nintendo. So I like the little tweaks they made, the little quality of life stuff they made, like the gear, how that actually makes a difference. I like the power-ups being on. I would kind of like that, and I like the cutscenes for the power-ups.
Yeah, I like that part too, because at first I thought it was just for the trailer, but as you saw it happen, I was like, oh, so this is going to be for every hyperdrive. Gotcha. Yeah, okay. I'm
up for that, and it's online, and you can make clubs, and you can have your online club. So yeah, that is a day one. So Blandrew, day one or what?
Oh, of course. It's probably my favorite Mario Sports series next to tennis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, a friend of the channel did bring up something on Twitter. He was like, look, I know everybody likes strikers, but can I get a Mario hockey game? I'm like, they haven't done one.
They haven't done hockey or football.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, like, I would love to see what Nintendo would do with a hockey, because I just have a feeling it would be weirdly fun.
I think I don't even like football, but I think I would take that over hockey.
Yeah,
because they had a little mini game in Mario and Sonic at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games.
Yeah,
and
they had that.
That was actually pretty decent. I think it was rugby or something that we were playing in that game, and it was super fun.
I think that's more preferred when you look at rugby, because it's like nonstop. You just toss in the ball, opposed to football. You have to stop, do plays, stop, do it again. So it's a start and stop situation to where it's not continuous. But yeah, I mean that's pretty dope. I mean, so Blandrew, quick question for you. Now you say you like strikers. Did you take any issues with the previous sports games we got for the Switch? Because it seems like a lot of people didn't like the way that they started off and had to gradually get better.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the whole rollout system of these games. How it's supposed to artificially keep making you wanting to come back to the game, but it just kind of turns me off from even wanting to play the game. So I wish that Nintendo would just, here's the full product, we're done with it, we're moving on, no more updates, no more anything, just here's the game.
Okay. Yeah, because like for me with the golf was more than enough for me, even though they were adding stuff to it, and I think they're still doing DLC. Tennis was kind of that way, like with Aces, like it was very bare bones in the beginning, especially when you talk about the campaign or the story mode or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I mean, hopefully this one comes out full-fledged, and then we got possible DLC that could possibly come later on, because there's people talking about not seeing Daisy, so they're up in arms about that. So I mean, you have 8 characters right now, so I'm pretty sure they're going to give you more on top of that.
The Mario specific characters, they're going to be in there. Come on, man.
Of course.
Like that's all. Like, yeah, you didn't see them in the trailer, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be there.
Right.
When it pertains to like, this isn't something that non-EPD Nintendo studios do, right? Like, this is next level 100%.
Yeah,
so,
I think it's next level.
I think it's next level.
Hopefully they're just allowed to just make the game and that be that, because as far as we know, they haven't done anything like that thus far.
Right, exactly. And I think that's what everybody's hoping this is next level.
Yeah.
But Gwen, to your point, it says they're trying to spread the Splatoon model around. The one thing I will say, because I've heard other people make that statement, Splatoon did it like the second game, because the first game didn't start off with a story, and then when the second one came around, they added the story, and so they were like gradually doing that. And of course, you have the Splatfest and everything else. But that game, the games, even what it looks like with 3, is gonna come as a full-fledged game. The only difference is you may get other drops, and then you have your different Splatfest. But I don't think Splatoon's ever went with the idea of drip feeding you. It seemed like they were just adding things to kind of keep the game interesting after the fact, because they've even stated with Splatoon 2 that story wasn't ready up front. It was something that had to get added later on, but with the Octopass. But it was an interesting pass because it was story based, and that's what I liked about it. But I think with 3, we're getting all that with the Salmon Run up front. You can probably do the story mode straight up front. If anything, we'll probably get different weapons and different clothes, and then of course the Splatfest where you're saying ketchup versus mustard and all that all over again. But yeah, I mean, I don't think Splatoon necessarily had a drip feed system.
Nah, because at first I thought they were just trying to go for that esports crowd.
Right, me too. Yeah,
like the battle royale / esports crowd, because everybody was saying that they needed esports and all that. So Nintendo did it their way. I mean, it was funny because you had people saying like only Nintendo would make the apocalypse look fun.
I bet
it was an apocalypse. Like all the members were dead, basically.
Yeah,
it's horrific when you think about it, but then you play the game, you're like, this is fun.
Yeah. Actually, I love Splatoon, man. I love the concept. I love the idea, because it's not about you killing the other person. It's about covering the area. Now you kill the other person to kind of give your team more time to actually spread paint. Yeah, but that's not the focus.
And then while we're on the subject of Splatoon, we're gonna talk about this Salmon Run.
Yeah.
So when are we gonna get these Splatoon 3 horror games?
You want to see a horror game? Go to YouTube and watch people play Salmon Run.
Yeah,
that's a horror game in itself.
But since you what are your thoughts on that whole what they showed in the direct?
For somebody that played Splatoon 2 a lot, and I actually just jumped back into it because of my son. I like the fact that they're adding new bosses, first and foremost. I love the fact of the new entry, which is pretty dope, coming from the plane. I don't know, that was something about that was dope for me. The fact that you can pass eggs. For people that never played it, they don't understand how significant that is, because I've been in situations to where I've been down by the water, got an egg, and trying my damnness to get back to drop that egg off, and you just can't make it because there's too much stuff going on, too much paint for you to try to paint over to make it back, and your partner's just looking at you just dying, like you just looking at you dying. But I love what they showed. It looks like whatever that last little Godzilla monster thing, that's going to be something pretty significant. But if it's anything like the first Salmon Run, to where that stuff ramps up as you continue to move along, it's going to be another hectic situation. And I hopefully they continue to add more to it, and then start letting you select levels, which also ties into the multiplayer of how they cycle through levels now through over a certain period of time. But hopefully they start letting you pick what weapon you can show up with and all that stuff, because before they would select the weapons you start off with when you went into Salmon Run. So hopefully you can kind of choose what you want to do. But I mean, we still got a lot more to see. I think it's a game that's coming out in like around July, I feel like. So I think we'll get something at E3 to let you know, hey, this is what the game is. Maybe get a direct, and then a release after that.
Look, at E3 we know we're getting a Treehouse Live on it.
I hope so.
Yeah, we know.
I hope so. Yeah.
They usually do a Treehouse Live for these. So
because that's a big franchise now. Splatoon was like one of the Falcons that raised from the ashes of the Wii U. Like it just it came out, and it's a big hit.
It was so controversial.
Yeah.
And I just swore wasn't nobody gonna get it. Boy, was I wrong.
So the moment I saw Splatoon, I jumped on it. And when you actually get into the ranked battles, that's when stuff gets real.
Yeah,
that's when it gets serious. Real. And they make you earn that too. So I like it.
Yeah. So Blandrew, do you think they should have like Judd be like a giant King Kong helping you in Salmon Run? That was a joke. But what do you think about it?
Splatoon, it's something I like to play, but it's not something I could really break down the intricacies of. I didn't put that much time in it, but I think I am going to really dive into it when Splatoon 3 comes out. So
yeah, it's definitely a big game. I tell anybody to at least give it a try.
But
it's addicting.
It's very. It takes people time to get adjusted, especially that the dual stick crowd, because it's a mixture of gyro as well as using the right stick, and I think that's what confused a lot of people. But it's an awesome game when you get into it.
I think I actually did. Like the first time I played it on the Wii U, I absolutely hated it because of the gyros on the gamepad. But it was more so the gamepad itself. But once I got it with the Switch and I was able to use the Joy-Cons, I enjoyed that way more than I did on the Wii U game.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, so the next one, and this one, it's a free-to-play game. I don't know how to feel about it, but that's Disney Speedstorm.
This game actually didn't look too bad.
It didn't.
It doesn't look bad. It just I just don't know how to feel about it.
I didn't know it was free to play.
Yeah, it's free to play. It's a free to play game. It's supposed to be a summer of 2022. It's their version of Mario Kart, basically.
Yeah,
it looks good though.
It looks good though.
It looks good.
It looks good. I mean, I will give them that. I think it'll do fine. I think it'll do fine, to be honest. Especially with it being free to play, I think it'll do fine. But
if it was somewhere else, I would share that same sentiment. But the fact that it's on a Nintendo console and free to play, no one's gonna pay attention, especially after this DLC news. Nobody touching that. Like, you can be as free as you want to. Nobody touching that because you said it comes out when?
Summer.
So that means that they beat you with that first wave, because that first wave is in March. March 18th. So you lost right there. So I meant kudos to them for even making the attempt. Similar to like the Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl thing. Kudos. I want to see competition all day. But you just chose the wrong
You ain't coming for the king. You can't come for the king. You ain't coming for the king like that.
Disney ain't got that kind of appeal with cartoons anymore. Like the shows, their kids love the shows, but the cartoons, they don't really pop like that no more.
I mean, they got the movies like that. People are really loving right now, but
now they do got Jack Sparrow driving, so that should be hilarious. Now the thing I think will help them is if they let them say like little off the cuff stuff that they say in their media, that'll probably help. But like I said, I'm looking at, I'm like, it looks fine, but
it looked more like Sonic All-Star Racers to me.
Yeah, but if I want to play, I'm gonna play Mario Kart because I got Mario Kart. Play Mario Kart, so I'm like, And you looking at somebody that actually liked Sonic All-Stars Race. I actually liked it.
Racing Transformed is my all-time favorite kart racing game.
Yes.
I liked it, and I'm just sitting there looking. I'm like, but if I got to choose between this and Mario Kart, I'm going with Mario Kart, dude.
I tell anybody, like on the 64, while everybody was clamoring for Mario Kart, I was playing Diddy Kong Racing.
Yeah, Diddy Kong
When
Racing.
it came down to Wii U, I was playing Sonic All-Star Transforms. Like that was the game to get. Like that was the racing game. Like I loved Mario Kart 8, but I stayed with Sonic.
Even though Shadow and Sonic getting in a car when they're actually faster than the car.
Hey, we ain't gonna get into
continuity.
All that.
Continuity. I'm just saying continuity.
Ain't gonna get all that.
All right, so Aspire, y'all know those guys. They're the guys who pretty much remaking HD resin, remastering all these Star Wars games. They're doing Force Unleashed. Now, the thing is, this is clearly the Wii version because you can do the motion controls and stuff. So, I don't know. I don't know.
I was never a big fan of these games, even on the 360.
Well, I like Unleashed. I like Force Unleashed.
I still didn't even care about it.
Because I like the story, the story of how it actually fit. Okay. So I actually liked it. But I don't know if I'll get it now just because I'm like I already played through it and beat it. So
I played Force Unleashed back in the day. It was whatever. I rented it from Blockbusters for like a weekend and then gave it back. But I have heard that the Wii version of this game is actually superior from a lot of people. So I'm interested to see how true that is. Will I pick it up? Probably not, but
it's the motion controls, man. The motion controls made it better, in my opinion.
Which I can see.
Yeah.
Wasn't there like a versus mode or something here too as well? That wasn't on the 360 and
the versus mode, because they showed it at the end of the trailer. They showed Qui-Gon versus
I thought that was just like a camera switch up in the campaign. Okay.
No, they that's from the versus mode. I mean, I like because I played it on because I had it on the Wii, but my nephew had it on the 360. I think it was. Yeah. So we played both of them. I preferred the Wii version just because I thought the controls were better. In my opinion. But All right, then they showed Assassin's Creed, the Ezio collection. If you have not played Assassin's Creed, that's probably the best story as far as story is concerned. The Ezio stuff is the best stuff out of their story, in my opinion. It's the Ezio stuff.
I think that's where it's always a big issue with me. Like for me to pay attention to the story, I gotta pay attention to. I like the gameplay has to already be good for me.
Yeah.
I've never been a huge fan of Assassin's Creed. Like I've played Odyssey, I played what was the other one? Origin. Yeah. So I mean I played those and I played, the older Assassin's Creeds and I've tried. God knows I've tried. But it was just one of those things of I don't know, I just got burnt out over time. And I was also a bigger fan of Prince of Persia. Yeah. So it was just like I don't necessarily care. But yeah. I don't know. It's interesting for those that like it.
It's a smart deal because the Ezio stuff was not on a Nintendo console, right? So it's smart for them. It's a smart play. If I would Ubisoft, I would have been did it, to be honest.
Yeah, because I mean, if you look at it, like the Switch library, even old or new, it's almost like you can get everything on this console now, and that's a good look for them for sure.
Yeah. So next one on the list is Chrono Cross Remastered. Now this kind of got leaked. I want to say back in January,
something like that.
And be that as it may, I played Chrono Trigger. I'm more of a Chrono Trigger fan. I don't understand why Square would do this one instead of Chrono Trigger. I don't know why.
I have two theories.
Okay, what do you think, Blandry? What do you think?
They have like an HD 2D thing in the works, or they're just like really scared to touch Chrono Trigger right now because they they know how prestige like that game is, so they refuse to do anything. It's kind of like Xenogears too. They don't really touch that game or Chrono Trigger just because a lot of people consider them to be perfect games that don't need to be tampered with whatsoever. Even when they ported it, they messed up Chrono Trigger, so I doubt they really want to start tampering with that game.
Yep, and that's
a good point.
That was my same thought process.
But the HD 2D thing does make it bring up another point because they redoing Dragon Quest 3 in HD 2D.
Yeah,
if they're gonna do it, they'll do it in that way. But like I said, like what Blandrew was saying, it's almost one of those things to where I thought Final Fantasy VII was never going to come because you can't touch it because of how much prestige it has on it. You're never going to reach what people think that game is. It's the same thing with Half-Life. If I'm Valve, I'm never dropping Half-Life 3. Never. Because you've already talked Half-Life series up to high hell. I can't reach that aspect of what you want me to have the game at. So I mean Chrono Trigger, while cool, HD 2D will be cool. You run that risk of you dropping it. The people that love it gonna play it. Then let somebody else play it. They ain't never touched it and say, this is what y'all claim to be
the top tier.
Yeah. And then they start shitting on it, and then now the prestige of Chrono Trigger now drops.
Releasing it in parts and
whole vocal minority situation.
It's gonna become a big problem because.
And to be fair, I think Square messed up with the whole Final Fantasy VII remake situation where they don't tell people how many episodes it is, and then everybody thinking the first game. They didn't explain that the first game was just the first 5 hours of the original game. Bloated out.
Why is that not on Xbox yet?
I don't think it's coming.
Because I thought
it was, but I don't think it's coming. I think I guess they make it exclusive.
Wow.
Now Sony been in talks with Square Enix. They don't got Babylon's coming. They didn't have they had some type of exclusivity with Nier. They don't have Forspoken coming. They don't have Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy 7. So
okay,
I think Sony's keeping it off there. They don't mind the PC, but Xbox absolutely not.
Because I mean, I could see if Square is like, this is what we can make, putting it everywhere, but you're gonna cover that expense. Okay, I guess, but
and we got to remember Square is hemorrhaging money, so they can't.
Yeah.
They really can't.
Boy.
Yeah, I went and bought Final Fantasy VII Remake. Worst decision I ever made in my life because of the simple fact that I'm sitting here thinking that okay, they're gonna probably make it's probably gonna be. It was 3 discs. I can see 3 episodes. No, I'm like, wait a minute. This is just the first 5 hours. Y'all bloated the first 5 hours of this game out.
So that lets you know this is about to be spread out.
I'm like, y'all don't probably, and then it hit me like they never said how many episodes it was going to be. I will give Capcom this. When Capcom did Resident Evil 2 Revelations episodically, they told you it was going to be 5 episodes.
Right.
They told you that. So I'm like, I should have been paying attention, but my nostalgia hit. And sometimes when your nostalgia hit, it messes with your head. So
now with 13, did they tell us how many parts of that game it was going to be?
Yeah, they did say it was going to be a trilogy.
They did
say it was going to be a trilogy. Yeah, because they said that right before 2 hit, they said that was going to be a trilogy. That's what that. All right, so Kirby is up next. Kirby the Forgotten World. And they showed the mouthful mode.
Curbs.
Okay, mouthful mode looks weird too.
Mouthful mode is just they setting themselves up for memes for sure. But hey, it is what it is.
Yeah. I have a feeling it's going to get way interesting come March 25th. Soon
it's already getting interesting.
Yeah. That was actually interesting though, because they showed how all the stuff that he can do in this mode.
Right.
A light bulb, a water balloon, a car,
like, a lift.
A lift. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, basically y'all took Cappy from Mario Odyssey and just made your version of it.
Yep.
I'm with it.
It's smart. It's smart because I don't know what else you would have done. But it's got me interested because I'm not the biggest Kirby fan. Because I always feel like Kirby's way too easy. Like it's very simplistic. But looking at this and the bosses that they showed, which was a big thumbs up. I'm glad they showed bosses and the different things you can do. Like you said, very Cappy. Like they got my sale. When it comes out in March for sure.
Yeah. Plus, I like the upgrades to the different.
Yeah.
I like the upgrades because the upgrades and they made them look visually appealing as well. So it's not like thing that you're looking at like, okay, it's all right. No, they made it look like, okay, this is actually you get this upgrade, you're gonna walk through somebody that's not a boss. Like
now, do you think this is gonna have multiplayer at all?
Oh, they said it does.
Oh, they did? Oh, okay.
It has at least one extra person can play with you in co-op mode. It doesn't have online co-op as far as I know, though.
Right. Okay, that's dope. Because that was the first thing I was thinking of. Because Kirby typically has up to 4 players can play together. So something open world like this, then that's like almost the same vein of like your Super Mario Land games that would drop to where you have like 4 characters going and playing and doing like that. So okay.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised at how hard they are going with this game because I was thinking I thought they were just going to be like, all right, we'll leave the co-op for the next game. We're just going to use this game to just have like a framework for what we can do for more future 3D Kirby games. But it's like they're going all out with this game. So I'm really excited for this one.
Yeah,
I mean, Kirby is the Kid Boo of Nintendo. So
we'll see.
I just because look. The Kirby games, much like the Mario games, to me, they're interesting because of how weird and crazy they can get.
Right.
How weird and crazy. I'm like, okay, they are actually going weird and crazy. So I'm like, I actually like to see the weirdness and how far they can go and just stuff that usually don't make a bit of sense and make it work. Like Super Mario Odyssey, man, half that game should not be.
No, it doesn't make any sense, but it works.
Yeah. Like a planet that's basically food.
It made me hungry.
Yeah,
I'm all with it. It worked in my favor. But
there was even a level with a realistic dragon. I was kind of upset that they didn't dive more into that, but that was a really cool concept that I would have liked to see them do more with. But
I didn't understand that at all. It's like out of all things that look real in this game, you choose this huge
dragon. Like, and you're sitting there, you're like, this don't match, but I'm down for it.
Yeah.
So nothing in Mario Odyssey matched.
Nah. But
I mean, they had a Tyrannosaurus Rex in there.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's what the biggest charm of it though was that it was just like this really weird, zany, trippy Mario game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And spoilers for a 5-year-old game, the wedding chapel on the moon. Beautiful. Beautiful, because I never would have saw that coming. I'm sorry. You can't say you saw that coming.
Nah.
Nobody can say they saw that coming.
They went all out with that ending.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm sitting there like, wait a second. Did they really just put a lone wedding chapel on? You know what, Nintendo? Y'all win. You win. We can't. You win.
Hey, all I gotta say is I don't know where Bowser get the money from, but hey, my man is a baller.
Yeah,
he went all out.
He's just rich. That's all we gotta know.
My man went all out.
Honestly, and I'm probably going to do a video on this just because it's funny. But they need to make a video game called Mushroom Kingdom Hustlers. And it's real estate, and Bowser selling real estate in the Mushroom Kingdom. That's where he gets his money from.
His side hustle.
You gotta have some type of hustle.
I mean,
you can kidnap somebody. Hey, you got time to kidnap and set up all this other stuff? Yeah. He got some money somewhere.
It can't be his side hustle. It's got to be his main hustle. But he's also a king.
Because his castle in Odyssey was amazing. Like the whole Japan theme. Like that castle was amazing.
The fight on the roof.
Yeah. That was amazing. That was great castle design. I love that main level. Like I love that level.
The only other alternative is that we gotta say Bowser's a pimp because of his car from Super Mario 3D World.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Him and Bishop Don Juan at the national players.
I mean, technically, he could do both of those things as his job and just blend them together.
Went all the way off the hinges with that.
Yeah, I can see him doing it. And it'll be funny. It'll be hilarious. I can see him.
It will make a lot of sense.
Yeah, that would just be crazy. So,
I mean, we don't know how the Koopas are born, so
at all.
Good point. And now you made me think of something I don't want to think of. So,
right.
So MLB The Show was next. That's coming April 5th. I'll say what I said before about that. I was not expecting that one to come, but hey, I mean. More power to you. I know they need to make their money, so that this is smart play.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with Shohei Ohtani being on the cover this year. It's the real smart play,
right?
For that game because I think it'll do just fine. You can carry it anywhere, and you can do cross save.
Yeah, and that's the key thing right there. Because if you already have another console, that transfers over to whatever else you're playing. So. So the marketing behind it, them doing it this way now, the portability aspect of it, and one of the key things that you constantly saw on Twitter was like trash, it looks like trash, it looks like trash. I was like, hell, so does FIFA, and FIFA sells gangbusters on the Switch. Yeah. But no one cares about as long as it runs like it's supposed to run, and I can have a sports game handheld. You have to understand what that appeal is for people that play sports games. Like Shadow will tell you, avid gamer as far as sports goes. I'm the same way with 2K. If you told me that 2K ran at least decently on the Switch, hands down, good if it transferred back and forth. If I could play my Xbox version,
you just want your data.
I just want my data, but 2K gonna be dicks about that. So at least with MLB, which I saw this morning, is gonna this 20
you can play everywhere.
Game Pass. So now you can play everywhere. So now I'm going to go out my way to get MLB on the Switch, so that way when I play it on my Xbox, I can then transfer all that to my Switch and just continue playing like nothing happened.
So if you go on the trip,
it's
you ain't got to worry about it because as soon as you get back home, hey, transfer it right back over.
Right.
And I think that's what people are gonna do.
I really think
that's what people are gonna do. Like either they're gonna steal their kids' Switch, which we know parents do,
right?
And transfer it over.
Because here's a fine example. Like I stated earlier, I got rid of my PlayStation. Now that's where I had 2K22. Because it's on my PlayStation and how 2K does things, I have it on Xbox now. I have to start over. That shit doesn't transfer. Yeah. So now I have to start from scratch again, or either just pay $50 for 100,000 VC just to get back to where I was. All because 2K will not transfer from previous game or from system to system. They just won't do it.
Which I don't understand why they won't do that.
That's the big thing about like Hades, Witcher 3. Those like the fact that you're able to play on PC and then just pick up where you left off on Switch, then stop on Switch, pick up where you left off on PC. That's a game changer, man. That's a game changer. And people talk about what qualifies as next gen, and what doesn't.
That's what I was about to say. Yep,
bro, that changes the game because it changes how you play. It changes what's comfortable for you and when you're able to play and when you're not able to play. Mm-hmm. And the whole focus of Switch was that. Like you can go from, hey, I'm playing on the TV to now I'm on a go or whatever, or I'm playing on a table, or I'm playing with an extra friend with a Joy-Con, or I'm just playing by myself. Like you can do all those things, which I think that's what Wii U was trying to do to begin with. That's why they were trying to do the whole, we have 5 players and one person has a different screen.
The whole asymmetrical game.
Yeah, they were trying to do the whole asymmetrical, and now Switch is just like we're multi, You know, we're multi-dimensional gaming for the most part. Just like, hey, any type of gamer that you are, we can appeal to you.
Right.
That's critical to me, and I think that if they had started doing that with a quote unquote the cloud games instead of build a native Switch game, it doesn't matter if it's low resolution or not. Just make sure the saves or what have you
are transferable.
You don't have to spend 4 years trying to get it to look good or whatever. Like it can be quote unquote low res or low texture or whatever you want it to be, as long as the PC version or PS5 version or whatever. It can cross save with that, and if it does that, you'll make all the money you need because being able to hold it in your hands is the difference.
Yep.
And then they would get people double dipping a lot if they did that.
Oh yeah.
Because guess what? They're going to spend that. They're magically going to be able to spend that money for Steam Deck. So they should have already been doing it for Switch to begin with, because Valve is going to be asking them to do the exact same thing. Make your game sub HD.
I mean, isn't it funny though that the resolution is just barely higher than the Switch when it's on the go?
And it's no problem now from all the PC gamers that are just resolution.
No issue whatsoever.
Shadow, you tend to forget that I need a handheld system that is literally a brick.
And it's bigger than
or take an Xbox Series X, take all the shaders out and put it on a handheld.
Yes, because that is true next gen.
My bad.
Dang it.
My bad.
Dang it. Gosh darn it.
Blandrew knows you're talking to a brick wall depending on the type of people that you
are
facing with on that, because it's just like they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. And when you question them on it, like, hey, so if this is what next gen means to you, explain in detail what that actually does for you as a gamer.
Okay, hold on. I got to do this since Blandrew is on here, because I think that he'll probably get a kick out of this. So what would you say if I told you that the Xbox Series S and X are 8th gen consoles? And I can prove it. And I can prove it.
Blasphemy! Blasphemy!
I'm interested to hear this one.
I'll put it this way. It's Microsoft's sanction at this point.
We're in the 9th generation right now, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
But just for this thought experiment, if I can prove it to you, what would that mean?
I guess prove it? Go for it.
What can the Xbox One do that the Switch can't do, or that the Wii U can't do to the Switch?
Not much, really.
No, it can't play the next gen games. The Xbox One can through the cloud.
Yeah, that is true.
And
so there's literally no difference.
With that being there, the operating system is the same. There are more features on the S and the X for the series, but it's still the same operating system. You're still using the same controllers. The controllers work backwards and forward between both of them.
Yeah.
You can't do that with the Switch and the Wii U. So how are they the same generation, but the Xbox One and the series are separate?
That's just people being stupid because they don't want the Switch to compare in like sales and everything. So
no, I know that, but it's just like the idea.
We're aware.
If you play into their stupidity, they don't have an answer for it.
No, you got people literally in the industry saying, "Oh, well, they just created the Next Gen Watch podcast." No, they didn't. They had it all the way back in the 7th generation, and then all they did was say, "This is a podcast specifically for a PS3 and 360." That's all they did. And I'm like, wait, the Wii came out after the 360, and y'all still gonna say Next Gen console watch? What are we doing? And then when the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 came out, they called it Next Gen console watch, and they literally called that show that for 3 years.
Yep,
3 years. Like, just say you don't want to talk about Nintendo on the podcast and be done with it. Because then when Nintendo's new console came out, y'all magically don't have that show anymore. And then you wait again until there's a PS5 and the Xbox Series X coming out to bring the show back again. Man, you can't make this up.
Shadow.
And so now the Switch successor is about to come out. That show is going to magically be gone. Watch.
Shadow, you got to understand one very important thing. Nintendo didn't pay us.
But of course,
Sony and Microsoft did.
Yeah, there was definitely a hit out on the Wii U, like back in the day. Like wasn't PlayStation, it was PlayStation or nothing. They weren't trying to tell you about no Xbox. They weren't trying to tell you about Wii U or even 3DS for that matter. So
did you see any of the excerpts from our previous podcast before?
No, I didn't. I'm sorry.
So me and Jake kind of had a conversation, and I went back and I looked at all the old videos that IGN had because them and G4 they had a big hit out on the Wii U.
Oh yeah, big time.
You start digging back, all the videos are purged.
All of them.
Oh,
they're all purged now.
Every last one.
All of 2012 and 2011 is gone.
Yeah. Now they tried to. The excuse was they had to free up space. I'm like, from YouTube,
and just for the year 2011 and 2012.
Like, it doesn't even make sense. I know people with thousands of videos on their channel that I've never heard of freeing up space on YouTube. But
it doesn't make any sense.
No,
on YouTube.
Well, the other thing too is, and we've said this before, and it just goes without saying, there was no way in the world they were going to sit up and let a Nintendo console do what we did to the PS3 and the 360.
Nope. Oh, you don't remember the lead up to the Switch's launch? They were talking about, man, it's time to put these games multi-plat. Let's get Nintendo out of here. We don't need this console.
They were trying to.
And they use the same arguments they use for Wii U. They're like, oh, look at the storage. Oh, look at the graphics. Oh my God, it can't do it.
It already had a Mario game. This thing isn't going to sell. Who cares about Mario Kart? It didn't save the Wii U, and then now look at it. And
of course, Mario Kart sells. Of course, even Smash Brothers will sell.
I mean, that's what you buy Nintendo consoles for. I mean, Mario Kart. I mean, who thought the Switch would flop? I mean, stop making up false narratives. I was like, okay. Everybody thought the Switch was going to come out there and dominate.
And what's so funny is you had a first. Zelda started selling well. Typically, Zelda doesn't sell more than like 5 to 6 million. Yeah, but now you got a Zelda game selling 20 million.
Zelda, I think went and redid the entirety of the open world genre. So much so to the point that can't nobody.
Assassin's Creed, like, oh, we can climb everything now. Pay attention to our game.
Yeah, Horizon 2 and
Yep.
It's so funny.
Horizon got beat down.
But I feel,
is that a hard topic to bring up on Weapon Wheel? Just asking.
Oh yeah, big time. You already
know it is.
It's also known as the Pony Wheel podcast over there. You know how things are over there.
That's why I told you, Shadow. I was like, between Blandrew, BG, and Jack, that's where I'm cool. I was like, but everybody else, that shit gets on my nerves. I had to stop watching. It is what it is. I understand where you come from because Blandrew literally is like a cat in the middle of a dog fight. That's just nuts.
The thing is, I like the podcast, but it just blows my mind how often I am so right on that podcast.
Yep.
And then I'm like, nobody says anything. They just wait for the next thing to get mad at me. Like this whole censorship thing that's going on right now with this whole Martha is Dead game. I don't know if you guys have been.
Yeah.
If you were on the side of being anti-censorship, you were trying to say this was bad, we don't need this in gaming, let the developers make the type of games that they want and let the rating systems do whatever they have to do. If they don't pass it, then let that be it, and then go back and alter their games. You were getting called like the P word and everything. I don't want to say it on your podcast, in regards to children and stuff like that.
I don't understand.
Well, hold a flag on the play. Sony been censoring games since 2012.
Since forever.
No, but no, I mean like to the point where it's like people been calling them out on because they're supposed to be the mature console.
Right.
Yeah. And my main point was that for those of us that are like gaming historians, we know that censorship doesn't just stop at,
no, it don't.
Anime girls. It goes into religion, it goes into certain topics, what you can and what you can't talk about, how they'll rewrite the script to make it so that nobody's getting offended, and imagery and things of that such. And now that we're here, everybody is so shocked and surprised and angry at Sony. And when I was like, I tried to tell you guys about this years ago and you made fun of me. So
nobody likes to listen.
It took Nintendo 2 years to redo the cartridge for Ocarina of Time to take the chants out and all the other offensive stuff.
They took the whole spirit, the last half of that game, the whole Spirit Temple run, and some of the stuff going into Ganon's Tower. No, going into Ganon's Tower as well as the Fire Temple had to be taken out and redone. That's why, like, if you have not the original disc, but the
original cartridge
from 98 to 2000, if you have one of those are the original cartridges. If you have anything after like 2001 to 2000 to 2000, I think it was 3 when they finally stopped selling them. Those are I think it's the 1.0.2 or 0.3 or whatever. Those are the ones with they changed it to the Cobra hood And when they changed it, instead of doing the chants
out,
it's just the regular music in the Spirit Temple, and then the Fire Temple. They just changed that whole orchestral sound. Period. They changed the whole thing. So yeah,
interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I got one of the original production cartridges.
Yeah, because if you got one of the original, everything's in there. Because it's a crescent. The whole thing with everything that Gerudo was the crescent moon with the star in it, and they changed that. That's when they changed to the Cobra hood.
Okay.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. That's why when people when they redid the game on GameCube, when they sold it because of the Wind Waker backlash, and people were like, where's this? We're missing stuff. They're like, nah, y'all not missing nothing.
That was changed on the later cartridges.
Yeah, it was changed because after 9/11, all that stuff got changed.
Yep. You can't have nothing dealing with Arabic anything. Like it's got to go.
It's gotta go. And like the Fire Temple and the Spirit Temple had the chants from a Muslim
Quran.
Islamic poem.
It was from the Quran.
Yeah, from the Quran. Yeah. So they had and the chants were actually they made sense for what was going on in those
games,
those dungeons. So, but because of what happened, they scrapped all of that. So it's not. That's why I was laughing when the whole censorship thing come up, because I'm like, every time it's a censorship thing, it's always on Sony now.
Yep.
It's always, and I'm sitting there like, wait a minute, aren't y'all supposed to be mature? Y'all supposed to be the mature console. Y'all supposed to be letting everything fly.
Nintendo doesn't care. They just don't want to be blamed for it because there's a rating system now.
That's it.
The craziest
Nintendo knows if anything happens, they're going to get blamed. They already know it. And the sad fact of the matter is, and Shuhei Yoshida and Phil Spencer all said, it's like, dude, we need them to hang around.
The craziest part of this whole censorship thing is that Sony historically has had some of the most insane imagery in their games, but now they're coming after Japanese developers and indie developers on the Western side and everything. So that's where people are kind of like, how are you going to allow all this nonsense to happen in The Last of Us? People getting blown to bits, their arms bashed in with hammers and everything. And
Evil Zone on PS1.
I mean, who doesn't remember BM
Shaolin style? The real kill, like
God of War. You were pulling those heads off.
Oh, God of War.
Yes. Especially your QuickTime events.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the game.
Especially those Aphrodite ones.
Hey, man. We love Aphrodite.
Hey, Aphrodite, man,
God of War 3.
When she came back in Hades, I was like, welcome.
Well, we know this is going to go.
But it's just one of those things where people don't want to listen to what's right in front of them. Because you can tell them multiple times and they'll just be like, nah, you're wrong. Then you get proven right and everybody clams up.
But I don't understand it though, because you could tell a crazed Nintendo fanboy, aka not me, like somebody that for real, like somebody that legit is like drinking the Nintendo Kool-Aid all the time. You can tell them, hey, look, bro, the Switch is only doing about half a teraflop. So it's only so much you can really do because it's operating under 11 watts. And they'll be like, okay, cool, I'll accept that information. At the same time, you got dudes over here thinking that an SSD is really doing all the things that it's doing. And I'm like, bro, that's just more RAM.
Right.
And they're like, no, I don't believe you. And I'm like, well, just put a slow SSD inside the PS5 and watch what happens. Oh, it's still the same. Oh, actually, it's better than the original drive. I wonder what that is then. Maybe it's the RAM. And then, I can't believe it. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, they're so brainwashed, bro.
I have said it before. I have said it before, and I'll say it again. Microsoft and Sony would have done better to go cartridge this generation.
Yep.
And stick with a general hard drive instead of amping up the price for SSDs, because it just cost everybody more money in the end. And they could have done everything damn near the exact same way, especially since the technology is going into SSDs, is now being used for hard drives and speeding up hard drives and making them more efficient, making them last longer.
Yeah, the money they could have spent, putting SSDs in there, they could have put even more memory into them. Like imagine a Series X or a PS5 with 64 gigs of RAM, right?
Yep.
And they use cartridges instead of disk drives. And you just buy your 128 gig cart, and you go from there.
Or
and obviously, the cartridges are going to be more expensive. But guess what? They raised the price to $70 anyway.
Right.
Yep.
Well,
so
the
there
thing
you go.
the thing about the cartridge system though, like Sony has been known to do this. They'll create their own, like they did it with the Blu-rays. They create their own proprietary. You can create your own proprietary cartridge. And Microsoft has the money to do that. So
Microsoft
Microsoft got the check for days. So
but here's the even better thing. They could have done their standard edition without the disc drive and it just have the cartridge slot for just the current generation games. That could have been the cheaper one, and then they could have had a legacy edition that has the disc drive on it that allows them backwards compatibility, and they could have charged more money for it.
I mean, well, that was my thing. I was just gonna say, if you're gonna make a PS5, make the PS5 and make the games cartridge based, double the memory, since you don't have to worry about a disc drive anymore, and make it backwards compatible with the Vita. Yep. And their Vita, you can just put a Vita game in there and play it, and then it automatically upscales and go from there. Like, how was that not a thing? That's just, it just makes the most sense to me. And you're attacking Nintendo Switch at the source at that point.
Yep.
Yeah,
Instead, you wait until after the fact and try to play catch up, and it's not going to happen.
And on top of that, their consoles would be cheaper to produce, but they could make more money off of them. So it's a win-win for them.
You transfer the cost to the other third-party developers that are making stuff for you, because you're licensing the cartridges and they pay for the production, and then I mean, you transferred the cost to the third parties at that point.
Yep.
Who are going to charge more for their games anyway, because you and Microsoft decided it's going to be $70 now. So
well, that's neither here nor there. All right, so y'all, anybody picking up Portal 1 and 2? Because I'm not.
I
already got them on Steam.
I have the orange box, like 3. I have 3 copies of orange box. Like,
Jesus.
I have it on Xbox, and I have it on Sony, and I have it on Steam. So there's no reason. Zero reason for me to.
No, there's one reason. Go for the Giant Factor. Go and get it on Switch. Go get it on Switch.
I mean, there is a reason, because this is the first time Valve has put anything on Nintendo, as far as I know.
I mean, but the orange box so you had no point. Like, there was zero reason not to get it. Like, orange box was, I think it was $10 at one point on 360.
Yeah, that's pretty.
And it was $20 on PlayStation at one point, and it was almost free on Steam. Jesus Christ! So it's like, you know, what I mean, there's zero reason not to have it on everything. So yeah, I have it on everything for that reason. So. And then on
kind of makes me wonder why they didn't put the orange box collection on Switches.
That's what I was
thinking. They should have just done that. But I think it probably, all of that probably took development time, and they just want to pay for those 2 games, I guess, since that was the project they were working on.
Probably.
But yeah, it's just one of those things. And I still don't understand it to this point, because, as I was mentioning earlier, all the hurdles are out of the way for Switch. Like, all the engines are supported. Everything that you thought was "quote unquote" a hurdle on Wii U is gone now, because you have Switch. Switch has the same SIMD engines as other consoles do. So you can't complain and just say, "Oh, well, the CPU language doesn't work as well." No, it's there. It just it's it. And you can even use your same intrinsic code and bring it over, and it'll understand it, and it'll do what it needs to do to make sure it works in CPU, and then feed the GPU the proper way. And since you're only dealing with anywhere between 540p to 720p to display, you don't have to worry about a teraflop limit, really. So, it's not an issue. I don't. It's really just time and money, really. But as far as development goes, so that is my soapbox baby MVG moment for the podcast, I guess.
No problem. All right, so next game up, Live Alive or Live Alive or Live a Live or whatever. Y'all get the point. So HD 2D. This is Square Enix's other HD 2D game. Triangle Strategy got shown in a sizzle reel.
Right.
So, but this one is the other one that they showed. Now, this game never came out in the States when it originally released.
Nope.
Right.
But they did do another follow-up trailer after the direct, and it does have full voice acting.
Oh wow!
Nice.
Oh, cool.
So this is going to be interesting.
So it's a true HD 2D game.
Yeah.
Voice acting and all that.
I'm actually going to pick this one up. I'm getting some a better version of Octopath Traveler out of this. So I'm thinking this might be all right. So Blandrew, thoughts?
I think it looks amazing. It looks like a precursor to Octopath, and like from everything that I've been seeing about how you go to different time periods and they all have their own little individual stories, I think it's going to be really cool. And I think you should just pick this game up just for. I know how these games tend to be. Like once they sell out, that's it. They're not going to be printing any more copies. So this is going to be definitely be one of the more rare games on the system. Same with Triangle Strategy and Octopath. So plus it just looks fun too. So.
Version, definitely.
Yeah. If you gonna get a physical version, I suggest you get it in the first month.
Right.
I suggest you get it then, because if you go that route, better get it in the first month, because as Shadow Fox will tell you, he didn't get Xenoblade Chronicles Tournament of Golden Territory.
Oh man, that game is so good too.
And now if you want to buy it, it's what, $250? I think last
time. As it should be.
So I don't know if I told you this story, Landry, but I was an idiot. So I bought the DLC, in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, because that was the way they pitched it to you originally, right? You watch the direct, say, hey, buy the DLC and you can play Torna, right? So I played Torna or whatever time it came out, whatever, right? And they're like, hey, we're making this physical. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I looked and I'm like, that's $40. I'll wait on it. I don't want to spend that much money. I don't want to get in trouble with the missus, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Then at one point, they weren't selling that well. And Best Buy was like, hey, $20, come get this. Then at one point, it was like, hey, $15.99, come get this. And I'm like, I should probably buy it. And I'm looking at the cart and it's like, I don't want to spend this money right now, because if I buy a game, I should just buy another game that I want that's new, not a game that I've already played. And now I hate myself so much.
Yeah. Well, for anybody listening, really, I guess the thing with these Nintendo games is you can't wait too long to buy them. If anything, they're going up in price. If there was a Alteria Riza that I forgot to buy, now the game's like $100 or something. So,
like I would say this: if you want to get something physical from Nintendo, I suggest you buy it within the first month and a half.
Yeah,
just to be on the safe side.
That's like the crazy part.
The only game that hasn't gone up in price yet so far, and I need to jump on top of it, is the Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, and I still need to jump on that. I need to get on that like right now because they're out of print, but they're still in stores.
Bayonetta went out of print as well, I believe.
Sure did.
Bayonetta's out of print, but I did see a couple of them in my Best Buy up here. But I already got my physical, so I'm good. On that one, I'm not making that mistake this time. But yeah, if you are one of those people who support physical games and you want to get something on the Switch, don't delay, because like they make copies, but they don't make a lot.
So they limited.
Yeah, you're not going to make a lot of copies for Live Alive. Like realistically, that's just not. Yeah,
because they didn't make a lot for Octopath. Even though Octopath sold like 1 million plus, they're not gonna make a lot. If they didn't make a lot for Octopath, I don't see them making a lot for Triangle Strategy, and I don't see them making a lot for Live Alive. I just don't.
Right. Yep.
There's that. Now here's the game that I think a lot of people are going to be getting, even though they swear up and down that they are hardcore gamers and that they the realest and they ain't nowhere in the world they would ever play a game like this. Nintendo Switch Sports.
Everybody's
that's going to be the main seller, because that's an easy way to show people what you can do with the system. And hey, you know what? It makes a great drinking game.
Man, this game might actually move into number 2 above Animal Crossing this year alone.
Yeah. Look, this is how you know how people lie about I can't play nothing that's not 60 frames a second. Go pull out a Wii, put in Wii Sports at a family function and see what happens.
It's a no-brainer, man, because it doesn't require a lot of effort, a lot of thinking, because that's like my family. Like I have some gamers, but then as far as the adults, they don't really touch it.
Yeah.
And their key thing is it's just way too many buttons, way too much stuff going on. When they got on Wii Sports, that's all we played. Like I even had Connect Sports, and they was like,
nobody wanted to touch that.
Too much body movement. Plus, it don't read like it's supposed to. Not happening.
I don't know how to use this right analog stick.
Right.
Get rid of it.
Exactly. But you got a remote control, and all I'm doing is this. The characters move by themselves, so I don't have to worry about that. And all I gotta do is just swing or do whatever fancy trick to get a strike every time I'm bowling. But this is going to be a no-brainer, man. This is going to be a hit for sure.
And everybody got that one family member that swear you don't know how to bowl.
Right. Right.
But get on and get a perfect game.
Yeah, every time you be mad as hell because you a gamer. You like, you don't play video games. I do. You know.
Right.
Right. So, yeah. For us, it was a WarioWare, and there's one of the mini games on there. It's a darts game, and we would just play that for hours, just playing the darts, trying to get a high score on that.
I still haven't gotten that for the Switch.
Yeah, we have it on Wii and Wii U. So
now I got the Wii U one. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just the darts mini game. You just play that. It's just crazy. It's amazing how you can just sit there and just play that for hours.
This does bring to question though, if they're doing Switch sports, are they going to do Switch play?
No,
probably
not.
They probably will.
You think they will?
I think they will, because think about Wii Play sold a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
So, they mean you got to sell a controller with it though.
Yeah,
sell a Joy-Con with it.
You think that they won't put a set of Joy-Cons
I wouldn't
in a box with it?
Yeah,
I would wait for something, because which game came with the
that was Wii Play.
It was Wii Play.
Okay, yeah. So I think that's where the incentive would go of like, hey, here's a better Joy-Con, we'll give it to you, but just outright, I don't see the appeal.
I could see them selling two versions of it. I could see them selling one version with just the game, and then another one with the two Joy-Cons, and be like, they'll sell the game alone for like $30, and with the two Joy-Cons for like $70.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can see them.
They're doing that. They're doing that here. Like the digital version is $39.99, and then the physical version is $59.99. But it's only for like a leg strap or something like that.
Yeah, leg strap.
And some people already have the leg strap. Like me, I have Ring Fits. I already have it. So
me too.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I'm still going for the physical version.
Me too.
This is I don't
worth more.
Now,
before you go there, I got to elevate real quick. I want everybody to acknowledge this. There are people that are going to say, hey, the Series X and the PlayStation 5 would have sold even more if it weren't for the pandemic and everything that happened. These are the same people that say the Switch sold as much as it did because people were bored and it was in the middle of a pandemic.
Yep.
Even though the Switch was also capped by, they couldn't push more systems out there than they wanted to because of the pandemic. So somehow the Switch sold more because of the pandemic, and the Switch and PS5 and Series X sold less because of the pandemic.
No, they sold less because of a chip shortage.
Make sense.
But
Nintendo also had the same
applies to Nintendo.
Yeah, but they had to move around it and use China last minute. Yeah. So,
but the thing about Nintendo is they're not using the same parts. The same parts that Nintendo was using.
Right.
They were already in bulk. They had way more. PS5 and Series they're not using those chipsets. Stuff is a little bit more. It's not older.
But they still had to leave the same fab that Sony and Microsoft were using.
But Nintendo,
so they had to leave and use Japan.
Didn't Nintendo move theirs to Taiwan?
Taiwan.
Before the pandemic. That was before the pandemic, though.
Right before.
Before.
They had, obviously the writing was on the wall for them. They knew something was about to happen. I guess probably because of the tariffs more than anything else. But it just happened to work out. Yeah. So
people were saying this even like about Animal Crossing. Like the only reason that game sold was because of the pandemic. But then you're like, okay, then why couldn't Final Fantasy VII, all these other games have the same level of success that Animal Crossing did?
I have an answer for that because Animal Crossing is relaxing.
Yeah, and like what is Day One on Twitter always say? Animal crack.
It's been Animal crack like since GameCube's been Animal crack. Like I don't know what.
It's a big game, but that was
a lot
the
more
consensus.
people involved in it now.
Yeah, it's the main consensus, because that was my main thing too. It's like you can't say that's an asterisk for Animal Crossing and not put that on every other game.
Yeah, you can't do
that. If your game sucked, it just sucked. The pandemic, people were broke. Obviously not, because everything was getting bought up.
Yeah, everything was getting So
now, game sales were through the roof. Like even the retro market went crazy during the pandemic.
So somebody was pulling money from somewhere other than them stimulus checks.
And mad people were building PCs too somehow, even though GPUs were over $1,000 a piece.
Right.
Well,
there's a lot of people buying pre-builds and swapping
them
on GPUs.
The pre-builds, because even me, I got lucky because I had to actually buy something for work. Right. I got lucky. So because you really can't, if you were looking for a certain top level what's considered top of the line, you weren't getting that. Those on 6 to 8 months waiting list. But me, I just needed something mid that I could play with a little bit, and I was actually able to get mine before before too long. Like I said, I had to get it for work. So that's made the PC I'm on now. That's what I had to do for work. So I got lucky in that regard. But yeah. So before we go to the next one, they are having a test run for Switch Sports this weekend. You need to go to the Nintendo website, but you do have to register for it for the online playtest, and you can. The playtest, don't ask why. I don't know. You can only sign up on the 15th. You can only sign up on the 15th, so you have to go to their website to do it, and you can only sign up on the 15th. I don't.
Yeah, probably gonna keep it real limited. It's gonna be real
I'll be
limited.
out of town, so I'm gonna miss that one. Man, it's gonna hurt.
I'm gonna try to sign up for it because my plan is to play something on that Saturday because they have specific time set up on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm gonna be playing on Saturday, so I'm gonna try to get some gameplay of it to throw up on the channel. So there's that. Okay, what's next? Oh, then we got to the Mario Kart DLC season pass.
That was just evil.
So much disappointment.
We didn't see that coming.
So much disappointment. So much.
Okay, so much disappointment, but hatred for the fact that they love it.
It was amazing to me because, okay, this is a shout out to Retro Death. I told you, bro. That's all I gotta say. Because he was steady talking about Mario Kart 9, and I'm like, bro, like it's not happening.
Not this.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is doing too well. It's not happening.
Yeah.
Not only that, like Mario Kart 9 is how you sell brand new systems. You don't
need
a
That's what
new
I'm saying.
Mario Kart.
If there's a Mario Kart 9 on Switch, it's going to be cross-gen for whatever their new thing is going to be.
So you might as well just hold it out until the next system is getting ready to come out and be like, all right, here's where you can only play Mario Kart 9. We saw how crazy it did on the Wii U, the Switch, and on the Wii U too, I guess. And
we'll
see. Half of the Wii U's had it.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Spawn Wave is suggesting that Mario Kart Tour is Mario Kart 9 because it is existing and Nintendo put it on that one little
put on the trail.
It is.
But I'm like, Mario Kart GP though? We just gonna ignore that? Like that's a pretty good game.
You got Mario Kart Tour, and then you got Mario Kart Tour and Mario Kart Live. Those they don't.
Mario Kart Live as well.
So
Well, I think it'll be a good excuse for them to jump because there's most games that kind of skip the number 9 for some reason. It's like they jump straight to 10, and it's kind of like Windows did this similar thing to where they kind of jump straight to 10. So I got a feeling they're going to jump straight to 10.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat skipped 9. They just called it Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, and then jump straight to 10. So I don't know what it is with this number 9, but it's
bad.
I got
13.
Right, it's kind of like 13 because you got some hotels that will skip the number 13. It would just go straight to 14. So maybe it's a thing, some type of superstitious thing, but I got a feeling they're going to say Tour was 9 so they can avoid the number and then jump straight to Mario Kart X. So that way it can be like a crossover for Switch and this and da-da-da-da. We're going to cross over different genres of Mario Kart.
Mega Man 9 was awesome. I don't know
what. Mega Man 9 was great. Outside of the fact that Mega Man was super basic.
and until like, what was it? Until like a couple years ago, you never saw it since. Until they did, 10 and 11, I think?
Yeah, they did 10.
Yeah. But the thing about this Mario Kart DLC is 48 tracks. They're actually bringing in remaster tracks from the Wii and the Mario Kart Tour. So they're actually bringing tracks in from that. It's supposed to be 48 in total.
Yep.
And it's supposed
it's across multiple different Mario Kart games. They got 64 tracks, DS, 3D.
DS.
But I mean, like those are the ones that weren't on the Mario Kart Tour and the Wii wasn't represented in the original. They had stuff from 64 and the DS and on the original 8. Now the thing is, they said that this is going to go from this year through 2023.
Yeah,
so
it's a slow trickle.
Yeah, it's going to be a slow trickle. But I mean, I don't blame Nintendo for doing it because once again, as we said, Mario Kart 8 is killing it.
Yeah,
it's killing it.
Still selling. Hell, Mario Kart Wii is still selling.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is weird.
Makes no sense. You don't remember when like Melee had sold all the way until they stopped physically printing it?
Yeah.
I think if they actually counted it and cared on eShop, I'm pretty sure Mario Kart 8 on Wii U is also selling still.
Probably.
I would not doubt it.
I wouldn't doubt it, yeah. I wouldn't doubt it at this point. But yeah, a lot of people are mad about the pricing of it. They're also mad that if you have the expansion pack, you don't have to pay for it. To each their own. I mean
technically, you are paying for it if you got the expansion pack, though.
You are. So,
but So this is kind of what I was suggesting. Time they did the Animal Crossing thing, I was like, look, so all the games that they're doing that are going to have DLC at this point, this should be an option.
Yeah,
going forward. So Splatoon or whatever type of, the new Zelda game that comes out, if there's DLC or anything like that, and you have that subscription, why pay extra when if you're already subscribed, they can just kind of give that to you as a bonus or whatever.
Yep.
Right. Go from
honestly, if they would have thrown Smash on there, nobody would have complained about this at all.
Nobody would complain.
They would have complained.
They would
have complained. They just would have did it anyway.
Right.
So if it wouldn't have been as bad if they found a way to retroactively add it for people that pay for Smash. But I think a lot of people would have been pissed if the discounts only went to new Smash players and everybody that already paid for the DLC or whatever basically got the screw job. So
they did that right. They did it right.
Yeah.
In that respect.
Give it to Animal Crossing people.
Hey, Shadow Fox.
Yes.
You and I, we kind of prophesized what would happen when it pertained to the future of the Nintendo Switch expansion pass. We were told we were damage controlling, we're just being blind fanboys, and now everything that we said is starting to come to fruition here. So you're going to start seeing more and more DLC packs or whatever else they decide to do with this system come to the expansion pack and just really start to increase the value of this service.
Yeah, just flesh it out. But
people thought it would just be Nintendo 64 and Genesis, and then that's it, and then
they were complaining about the emulation, and then they fixed some of the emulation, and now there's crickets. So, it's just one of those things. Like the people that want to hate. Here's the thing: Nintendo Switch Online doesn't have the voice chat solution that they want.
Right.
So they're going to complain about that. Nintendo Switch doesn't have features that Wii U had, despite those people never wanting Wii U. They want the features that were on Wii U. They want Miiverse. They want the free online. And they wanted the limited voice chat that directly came from the system. If you played Mario Kart or whatever, you could chat in the lobby directly from the gamepad or whatever. They want you to be able to do that on every Switch game for some reason.
I remember
you could do it on Fortnite, but not.
I remember people used to try to clown us over like Miiverse and stuff like that. And
now they want it.
Yeah, now you're seeing like this push for the metaverse and all other types of stuff like that.
And when Virtual Console was a thing, they were clowning Virtual Console and said it should be a subscription service.
Now they have a subscription service and don't want it.
And they were saying the price it was way too overpriced. And then when Nintendo gave them like 100+ games for $50 compared to one Nintendo 64 game at $10, they were. I hate people, Shadow Fox.
And now I got people on Twitter saying nobody ever said they wanted a subscription service for.
Are you serious?
Yes, this is the thing.
No,
I have the worst mutuals. I promise you. You'll see them.
Nah,
you'll see them.
Come on now, because that was for sure. Because they hated paying those individual prices.
Yep.
And they say Nintendo just needs to do a subscription service. That's all they need to do, or they wanted them to also do with what Xbox Live Gold and PSN does, to where they drop like 2 or 3 games a month. But it's like they gave you the subscription service, but I know for most people, their main complaint is they didn't just go and say, "Hey, everything that was on the Wii U, here you go, bam, just dump it on there." It's not going to work.
That they're totally different file systems.
Exactly.
One of the old Gamers at Large members is currently in an argument with somebody right now on one of my threads. And this dude is pretending, he's arguing with him, pretending that nobody ever asked for a subscription service for Virtual Console.
Okay.
Man,
all right.
And he's like, dude, that was a thing. Like, why are you pretending it wasn't a thing?
We got
lambasted for that.
We got lambasted for saying that stuff at the Games at Large. I'm like, what the? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Whatever.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
This is where we are right now. Like, like people don't like. They just have this. They can just take history and just say, "Nah, that didn't happen," because I need to validate my new complaint. So,
then you go back and show them their, their mistakes, like you would show a Brian Otano, and then it just disappears.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're like, Nintendo's behind the times. Why do you want to? So these videos are still up for on IGN. They were complaining that you could hook a USB hard drive up to Wii U.
Yeah, and now they're begging
right before 360, right before PS4 and Xbox One launched.
And then they were complaining because you couldn't do it on the PS4.
Yep, and then they bragged that you could finally expand your storage via USB over PS4. It was a revelation.
I think the Wii U just needed a system update to allow it.
Yeah.
Day one. It was a day one update.
Day one patch. It was a day one update. Yeah. I
hard
mean,
drives, SD card, whole nine.
Look, the problem is when you got a game like Call of Duty that's 287 gigs, and your system is only like 500 gigs, and that's 300 after the OS, you're kind of screwed.
Well, if you build your system like Wii U and every single game just runs off the disc anyway, it doesn't matter how
it don't matter. But the problem is, like with a game like that, is so much that's why I was like, sometimes I understand that people want to get physical copies of stuff, but at the same time, like if you're looking at the size of these games, they're not on disc.
Yeah, they don't matter anymore.
You're still screwed. So if anytime they cut them servers off, you're still screwed. Just because you got the physical copy don't mean nothing. You basically
still got to download like 3/4 of the game.
Halo Infinite was additional 40 gigs, right? I think. Yep. Even after you install the disc.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, what are we doing? At this point, I'm just like, when it comes to those consoles, I am strictly digital.
Yeah.
Because I don't see the point. I just don't see the point. If your game, perfect example, Marvel's Avengers is 92 gigs.
Mm-hmm.
You know that game's not all on the disc.
No, the disc is only 50 gigs. So
yeah. You know it's not all on the disc. So if they decide to cut them servers off, you're still not playing that game.
Well, they're about to see how small Call of Duty can really be in file size when it drops later this year, if not next year on the Switch.
Yeah,
that's what they.
That's going to happen.
Yep.
So, all right, last game that we got to talk about, and then we'll let everybody go to sleep. And this is for all the marbles, because a lot of people have been wanting this game to drop, and they dropped the trailer on it just like they did with Bayonetta 3 when people said Bayonetta 3 was canceled. Xenoblade Chronicles 3, people.
I'm just gonna shut up.
And now, so I do want to make one thing. If you saw the actual the end of the trailer, and you saw that Titan is the Urian Titan, and that is the Mechanicus sword. So you probably want to play Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition and 2, so you understand what the heck is going on.
They're saying that you don't need to play 1 and 2 to understand this story. Play 1 and 2.
Play 1 and 2.
Yeah, just do it.
Because even if they do a recap system, I'm pretty sure you still need to play the game.
The thing is, you will lose a lot of context and people won't have. That's the problem.
Because 9 times out of 10, the no pun are going to say something that you not have no idea what they're talking about.
Right. Yep. I mean, this game, for me, I expected it to come soon, but I didn't expect them to show it here.
Yeah.
If anything, I expect to see Fire Emblem's next game, not the Warriors game, but the next game before I saw Xenoblade. But it's just when we saw the trailer kicking off, at first I'm thinking X, and I'm like, oh shit, they remastered X. But then everything just started going around. You saw the characters and everything else, and it's just like everything got merged.
Yeah,
everything got merged, and so all I need now is to see my what is it, scales. I need to see my scales and just if I got my scales in, I'm good.
The thing is, when you look at the trailer, they took stuff from X and it's in this game.
Yeah, it's in the game. That's how I looked at it. I was like, okay, it's in the game.
Some of those things that look like Mechon, they are like mechs from Xenoblade Chronicles X. So.
Yeah.
So my thing is, what the hell did spoilers for a 4-year-old game? What the hell happened when Rex did what he did at the end of 2?
He reset.
So he must have really did reset the entire.
Well, but then Shulk reset too. So
yeah. So and yes, that is Melia, and yes, that is Nia.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the only thing about Rex resetting is he took everything out the sky and put it back on the ground. So it's kind of like resetting the Mechanicus and Bionis. But they're other Titans as well. So, and if you look in the trailer, you see other Titan bodies kind of laying there.
Yeah, you see them laying. So, like I said, the ending shot is basically the Urian Titan damn near got his head cut off. And it's from the actual Mechanicus sword. So I'm looking forward to this game just because I know it's gonna be open world. I'm all for it. I'm about to sink another 300 hours. So only thing is I do not want a freaking gacha system in it. Do not bring that crystal core system bullcrap to this game. No, don't do it.
Wait, but would you want some type of monster collecting or blade mechanics in this game or no?
We can have some blade mechanics. I don't want that gacha system in it. You can have blade mechanics all day long. I don't want no gacha mechanics in here. I should not still not have Cosmos.
Oh, okay, I get you.
And that's his only
gripe. You gotta bleed the system, and then you'll be able to do it. Bleed the system through.
I've tried that; it don't work. So, but no, I hate gotcha mechanics in game. I hate them. I just because like, especially when it's something like this where you're like, okay, you got story specific stuff that I need to do, and I still haven't gotten these things. Right. Even though I've went through what supposedly are the better and better things that I'm supposed to use to open to get said characters.
Right.
So in that's why I hate gotcha systems. I hate it.
Hey, look in the chat, man. Cosmos is worth it.
I don't went through like
he will never know.
I told Shadow this. I went through 20 legendaries and 10 rare cores in one sitting and then getting out one unique one. They can kiss my.
So here's the thing. So Cosmos breaks the game. Then you end up getting Elma, and Elma super breaks the game. So it's like,
but the problem
is it worth it? Maybe before her, but
the problem is I can't because she has like don't Elma and Cosmos have like specific side quests they have to do.
Yes, and so Elma's side quest is only possible if you have Cosmos in your party. So you need Cosmos and Telos in your party to finish the rest of hers.
I hate Monolith.
Which makes it pointless to have. That was a bad thing.
It makes it pointless, but it connects those two games, and then the Nopon looks at you and does that other fourth wall break after he's done explaining.
No, I mean the pointless thing was the system that they put in place, because they made those stories specific to those characters,
and they're locked away.
Yeah, that's the pointless part.
Because if it isn't Cosmos, it's the other girl, the fire girl. I can't think of her name, but then she becomes the rare, depending on what save you roll. Yeah. So there are people in our circles on Twitter that easily unlock Cosmos as a pity blade, and then they can't get the fire girl, and I can't think of her name right now, but they can't get her because she's the hardest blade to get. So she'll be the last one that they unlock.
Sometimes
she was the first one I got.
Sometimes I love and hate Monolith Soft. It's a love-hate relationship.
And Ray, I feel you. When Unbreakable plays, when you use Elma, when you do overdrive. Like I'm like, bro, like I'm playing Xenoblade Chronicles X now. This game is amazing. It's and you completely break everything in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. The entire combo system is completely broken because you get team and party damage and everything stacks. So it's just amazing. I don't know how else to explain it to somebody until you need a way to beat Cloud Seekin. And once you find Cloud Seekin and you know that he takes forever to beat him, and then you get somebody like her and you start stacking damage, it's great. Yeah.
So before we close up shop, I want to ask y'all, who do you think is going to be the special guest character for Xenoblade Chronicles 3? Do you think it's going to be Elma again, or do you think it's going to be Cosmos again? Who do you think is going to one of the special guest characters going to be?
I think Elma's got to come back. I don't know if she's going to be the special whatever, but I think she's got to come back. They got to leave something in there.
Mostly because of the fact that they gave hints away about her origin, so it's kind of required.
Yeah. Okay. And she's tricked into thinking it's a simulation. And then the Nopon looks at you and like, I know how all of these are connected, and I'm not going to tell you. And then winks at the camera. So,
and that's another thing.
This is all in the DLC.
Yes. Okay. When you start playing,
I'm about to say that's why I'm lost too, Blandrew. Yeah. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Because I bought the DLC, but I didn't dive into it yet.
You got to start playing the DLC and start going into basically their tournament runs and their boss runs or whatever, and you go through. And the best thing about it is going through and playing again at Bringer Chaos mode, which completely changes all the fights in the game because they're way stronger, way harder or whatever. And some enemies have spike damage and they don't tell you until after the fact. Like it's just all kind of things that you find out about a fight. And they tell you little story tidbits as you go through. And these Nopon tell you because for whatever reason, the Nopon know everything that's going on in all of these games. They all know. Tatsu knows. Riku knew. And they just don't want to tell you anything. Yeah.
Interesting. So, okay, because
it's like they all know the joke and they just won't tell you.
Yep. Yeah. Right. Like you have to pay it. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 has this thing that Ocarina of Time does where you can easily miss the story beats they're trying to set up.
Yep.
And One of them is with the doing the Nopon Arc Sage, because it's actually in the definitive edition as well, where you go talk to him and he starts saying some stuff. You're like, wait a minute, you're not supposed to say that. Okay. And then
And
you
he's
go
like,
to,
yes, I am. Then he looks at the camera and winks.
yeah.
And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah. So
which is the same thing Tatsu did in X. So it's like,
yeah, it's kind of like they can move between all these games freely and nobody else can.
facts.
Because if you notice, every time they have a Nopon, always say they always have a couple Nopons that be like, yeah, I just came from here.
And they won't tell you how. They just
like,
go from there.
Like, what that ain't on this world.
Like Elma said, she made a comment like after you beat her quest or whatever to unlock her or whatever. She said, "Oh, that was a very, very strange simulation." Then the Arcsage Nopon just kind of looks at her as like, "What are you talking about?" Like kind of situation. Like she has no idea what's going on, and neither do you. So,
but he does.
Yeah.
So,
oh man, I'm going in the dark when it pertains to this game. I'm not looking at any more trailers. I don't even know what the combat system is going to be like. I'm just
that's what I'm looking
to do
forward
my
to.
best to avoid it.
Yeah.
Man, as long as you play Torna, it's great.
But I haven't.
Well, the other thing too, and the last thing I'll leave on is this. Like, I like the fact that like the way they set it up, and then of course the Smash trailer when they did the reveal for Power and Mithra was the icing on the cake when they showed Shulk and he recognized Power and Mithra, and you're like, oh snap! That kind of goes back to 2 with the Arcsage again, because it's like, oh, what are y'all doing here? And he's like, I didn't think I was gonna see you again. Like, again? What the hell? Like, y'all again. Oh, I get it. So they're gonna have to explain the Nopon at some point. Monolith's gonna have to explain them at some point. At some point. I mean, I don't know if they do it this coming game, but they're gonna have to explain them what the deal is with them at some point. Because right now they're kind of like god tier characters, and
what are they trolling us? What are they trolling us in the Nopon are just the developers?
That would be hilarious. I mean, that would also be hilarious because that would also make sense. But the thing is, the way they do them in the story, it's just too many certain specific things they do. Like I was telling you the other night, I found like what is Tora's dad in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. He's in Morardain at this certain specific spot, and you go talk to him, and he act like he can't see you.
Yeah, so there's a Nopon named Tora in Xenoblade Chronicles X as well.
Yeah.
Literally named Tora in Xenoblade Chronicles X.
So it's like they know something, but they're just, you'll see them doing random stuff, and you're like, okay, that's not creepy at all.
Yep.
A quick question. So I'm looking around now because I'm about to just go ahead and bite the bullet and buy it, right? So what was the difference between Torna and the Chronicles 2 expansion pass? Because I don't remember what the expansion pass.
Torna is a brand new game. The expansion pass just gave you extra like freebies like chests and DLC and stuff. Okay, also the expansion DLC so you can unlock Elma and all the other kind of stuff, whatever, right?
Yeah, gotcha.
So that lets you go see the Arcsage and you go there and do all the special battles and unlock Elma and whatnot. And you also unlock Shulk and everything else as well.
Yeah.
But Torna is a completely separate game. It is amazing.
And that's what I figured.
Yeah, the voice actress for Mithra Empire is amazing. Like she did a really good job towards the end of that game. So yeah,
she did a really good job keeping her mouth shut about Smash too, because nobody saw that coming.
Yeah, she did really good for that too. So if you haven't played, go play Torna. And I would say this: play Torna, then play about 30 minutes of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 from a fresh, new
perspective.
Save.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you'll be like, wait, what? Oh, okay.
I have to do that anyway because I haven't touched it in so long. Because the part where I was getting wrecked because I almost felt like I was there too early. So so I have to start over anyway. So
yeah. Grinding is paramount. And
in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, it's a good idea to hang out on those Titans a little bit longer than you normally would.
Right.
It's just a good idea. Every time you go to a new Titan, just hang out. Because there's some stuff you need to do to get your affinity up and all of that. It's just easier. Don't do like I did.
just run straight through it, and then you hit a brick wall, and it's like,
right. Just that's what I did.
Keep some time on every Titan, get your levels up and all that, because you're not gonna be able to outlevel everything that's on there,
right?
Anyway, but just go out, just spend like a couple days just grinding and getting your stuff up.
You should be able to out-level the majority of things that you see in the main area that you're at, with the exception of a few.
Yeah, and there's a few tyrants you ain't gonna be able to get.
Yeah, because right now, like before I cross over to the other side, like those dogs were kind of giving me issues in the beginning. Is that in the little desert area, like the dogs was giving me hell.
They do.
And then finally, I got to the point where I was good, and I was like, well, let's go to the other side. And then that's when I just started getting wrecked. I was like, oh yeah, it's time to turn around.
Yeah, that other side, when you go on the other side of that gate, that's like all level 80s.
Yeah, trust me, I noticed. But see, the crazy thing is the quest takes you over there.
Yeah.
So I was like, what do you want me to do? Because it's not like I can just haul ass through here and not get touched. Like
that's Monolith. They're in the first Xenoblade, they do that, and then you walk over there and you're just like, oh, that's a Gonzalez. Yeah, I don't want to, but you got to walk past him to get where you need to go. And that Gonzalez is like, come on over here if you want to. I got all that smoke.
And everybody is like on site. And I'm like, okay, bro, if I just keep running.
Hey, hold on, Shawty, what you doing over here, Shawty? Hold on,
just run. I'm like, hey, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? And it's just, I'm like, shit. All right, cool.
What I used to do was wait till night because they'll go to sleep. They go for that quest, and I know what quest you're talking about.
Yeah.
For that quest, just wait till nighttime. They'll all be asleep unless you go and hit them. They ain't gonna wake up.
Oh, I ain't got no problems doing that. I just need to sleep.
Oh, you talking more Dane, right?
Yep.
At daytime though, hey Shawty, I like them kicks.
You know what's crazy? What's crazy is that when you're leveled enough to basically destroy everything in that area, and you're like, hey, I'm leveled up enough, and then for whatever reason you just feel froggy. And you go back into one of the earlier dungeons, and everything in there is level 90 and above. Yep. And you're like, wait, what is this? Like, no, this is for end game, bro. You're not ready for this yet.
Because there's one Titan that's there.
Yeah.
And if you wake him up, let's just going to die.
And it's embarrassing because it's a squirrel.
Yeah.
It's a squirrel?
Yeah.
Yes, and he got all that smoke.
But it's a level, what is he, level 86? I think he is. It's a level 86
or something like that.
Yeah, it's a level 86 tyrant, and it's small as hell.
And he got all that smoke.
Yeah.
And you get whooped by him and you get embarrassed.
Yeah, you're going to be mad at yourself. You're like, I should step on him. No, you're not going to.
No, and he wiped the whole party, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I just start over, I guess. But yeah, I got to pick up Torna Country because every time y'all talk about it, Jesus,
dude, Torna
is really good.
I might actually start over in that game, start another on a new play, and just go through a whole playthrough with that.
But I say the only one that's worse than y'all is Player Essence, and when he talk about it, I'm like, okay, I gotta play it at some point,
dude. Like I said, and they do a good job of making you feel like everything gonna be all right.
Ooh, yeah, they do. That is a soul dream. That is a soul dream for sure. But you gotta run through it, and then you'll see a lot of.
You'll understand why characters act the way they act too.
Yeah,
you'll see why characters act the way they act too. It makes total sense, and they do tie up every loose end from 2 as far as that story is concerned.
And you'll also see why certain people are enamored by or fear Rex as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll completely see why. And they do got a couple of tyrants on that is, hey y'all, that's not fair. That's not fair. So, yeah, but I think, and this is one thing that I hope that they do. I hope they keep the combat system from Torna if they're gonna do that. If they do that, keep a modified version of that for 3 because the Torna one was way tighter than the combat system in 2.
Yeah, I think it's way better for beginners. Torna is.
Okay.
Yeah. So that I hope they do a modified version of that because I don't know what they're doing. I did notice a couple of flesh eaters in that trailer, so I don't know what they're doing with the crystal system or whatever. I just hope it's not in there.
Right.
Yeah, I just really hope it's not in there. So, man, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. We're a Marvel movie. All right.
Shadow Castle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm about to head out in a minute to watch the game.
Blandrew, thank you for joining. We really appreciate it. Anything you want to pimp out before we get out of here?
I got a Xenoblade X video coming out in the next couple days, so be on the lookout for that.
Sweet,
perfect
sweet.
subject to end on.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Jack, what you got?
You already know I got a damn thing. Not until next month. Until everything is set up, I am on hiatus. So, like I said, I do have stuff lined up now that I have one less console to worry about. And then with this new place, I can get my green screen set up for the VR content. So I can start doing the Quest 2 stuff that I want to, or excuse me, MetaQuest content that I want to supposed to be doing. But other than that, that's what I have on the table. Now getting it all set up and recorded, that's a whole different story. But yeah, that's what I got going on right now. Not a damn thing until that happens.
All right, Shadow.
I'll be probably on hiatus for about a week or so. I may or may not drop a video in the meantime, so kind of peep that for a little bit. I may do a response to one of MVG's latest videos.
Y'all need to stop, man, because I swear they took 2 digs at him that last show.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
We'll see what happens. So, I'll respond to some things here or there because there are a couple of things about the PlayStation you kind of left out. So I figured I'd talk about some of that stuff too. Why not?
All right, Andre.
I mean, I'm still arranging videos and stuff, but hey, there was a 12 video marathon on my channel that just happened today.
That is nuts.
So go back and watch it. It's all gameplay and stuff, but you can go back and watch it and enjoy it and see some stuff that you might laugh at.
All right, cool. Me and Vicky from Vanguard Review did our season finale review of Book of Boba Fett. So check that out. We did that this morning. Other than that, I have no idea what I'm gonna do next week because I've been working on some stuff that I'm trying to make sure I get done before the end of the month. I'm bringing my blog back and hopefully have that ready to go by the end of the month as well. So I'm going to be doing that. So if I do any live streaming, I will, of course, let people know on the Discord and on Twitter and Facebook. So you'll know when I do that, if I plan on doing it. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. Thank you, everybody in the chat. We do really appreciate it. We appreciate the feedback. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow, all the other good stuff. We'll catch you next time. This time next Sunday. Peace.
Peace. And Nintendo dropping a